brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
It is becoming one too many that the majority leader has made Ken Ofori-Atta his target. Speaker, with respect, my respected senior at the bar knows that a man must be heard, and that even if all men find a man's hand in a tail, his guilt must be proven. He knows that as a matter of law. You cannot bring Ken Ofori-Atta's name here when the man is not here to defend himself and make serious allegations against him. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader himself is part of the governance of this country. How would he feel if this is said about him when he does not have the right to respond? If you come and say all that Ken Ofori-Atta has taken away, what has he taken away? What has he taken away? He is a human being like you, a citizen like you. He also has children. He has his family. Be fair. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader, Honorable Mahama Yerga, must be fair. It is not his first. He supervised the embarrassment of Ken Ofori-Atta when they brought placards in this chamber by his side. Mr. Speaker, please and please again to the majority leader, if he has no answer to the economy that is struggling,
and we will get there. I believe that in the not too distant future, when the economy has been stabilized, if you are able to get the former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta to come back to Ghana and account for all that he has taken out of the country. Why? You even promised to bring Ken Ofori-Atta to this country. You promised us in this chamber that you will bring Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana. You promised us. We didn't ask you, but you promised us that you bring Ken Ofori-Atta. Now we are told that he has obtained permanent residency. Former finance minister running away from his country. And you sit there and you want to complain about a government that is just 1 year and a half in office, fixing the mess of people like that. If he has nothing to fear, he should man up and come back to this country and come and defend himself. Mr. Speaker.
Well, so this is what happened in Parliament earlier in the week. In fact, as you may rightly be aware, the former finance minister, Kenneth Danaya Ofori-Atta, has now been, according to his lawyers, granted permanent status in the United States of America. It was on this show that Martin Bebu gave us indication of this particular path that the former finance minister was taking almost a year ago. There were doubts about whether or not what lawyer Martin Bebu said then was true. Well, the evidence is what we're seeing now. And as we say, the chickens have come home to roost. And the former finance minister has now received, according to his lawyers, permanent status in the United States of America. What does this mean in the entire scheme of things regarding the charges against him, which his lawyers consistently maintain that they have not been officially served? What does this mean for the OSP's own quest to bring him down to answer for those charges? What are the specific implications, if there are, of this development regarding Kenneth Danaya Ofori-Atta? This is a matter that we will talk about this morning because the decision was delivered on Monday during proceedings in which the courts considered Mr. Ofori-Atta's petition. It was a key step in the process of acquiring permanent resident status in the United States. So stay with us. We have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. Also, this morning, we got confirmation of former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Sophia Akufo, officially ceasing to be a member of the Council of State after President John Dramani Mahama accepted a resignation and demands of consultation over the matter, according to the Minister in charge of Government Communication. The announcement was made that over the weekend, we got wind of it almost a week ago. Then we got the confirmation sometime within the week when Phyllis Kwachu-Fosu addressed the press on Monday, confirming that indeed the resignation process of Sophia Akufo had been concluded and that steps were underway to appoint a replacement in accordance with the Constitution. That replacement is specific. It has to be a former Chief Justice. We have a few of the surviving or living former Chief Justices for the President to choose from for the replacement of Sophia Akufo. We'll have a conversation this morning regarding the Council of State itself and the demands of that particular institution, the reforms that have been proposed by the Constitutional Review Commission, and how that would make that institution of the Council of State in itself more effective than what we are seeing. So we'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is about 18 months in office. There has been a poll gauging his approval ratings of the president. In fact, there are two polls, two different outcomes, divergent views. But in the end, that verdict lies with you, our viewers. So we'll have a conversation this morning. The Institute of Economic Affairs has put out something. Global Info Analytics has put out something. Musa Dankwa is joining us in the studio after this quick break. My name is Alfred Okanse. Welcome. This is Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the city of London and Voice of London Television as well. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. My guests will take their seats. The conversation starts right now. Welcome.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
There are still quite a bit of immotorable roads.
A lot.
Because of the rain. What did DRIP do to prepare for the rainy season?
You don't have to have drip in order to resolve that. The flooding being caused in the system is not just about the silting. It's also about people building in unauthorized places.
How many kilometers of road were paved, repaired, or constructed over the time that you were National DRIP Coordinator?
As of March, through DRIP, we've done almost 11,400 kilometers of reshaping.
General Mosquito, as a leader of your party, you endorse his leadership style. What will you be doing differently from him?
A lot. I'm looking at building a very resilient NDC that will be the obvious choice for any youth of Ghana.
Why do you think now is the best time for you to be chairman?
Who better is qualified more than me to lead the NDC at this time? Whether the MPP like it or not, Nina Ntivanapo's chairmanship will end their dominance in Ashanti region.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. along the coast. The sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
There are still quite a bit of immotorable roads.
A lot.
Because of the rain. What did DRIP do to prepare for the rainy season?
You don't have to have drip in order to resolve that. The flooding being caused in the system is not just about desilting. It's also about people building in unauthorized places.
How many kilometers of road were paved, repaired, or constructed over the time that you were National DRIP Coordinator?
As of March, through DRIP, we've done almost 11,400 kilometers of reshaping.
General Mosquito, as a leader of your party, you endorse his leadership style. What will you be doing differently from him?
A lot. I'm looking at building a very resilient NDC that will be the obvious choice for any youth of Ghana.
Why do you think now is the best time for you to be chairman?
Who better is qualified more than me to lead the NDC at this time? Whether then people like it or not, the Nantivanapo's chairmanship will end their dominance in Ashanti region.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us, and honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Welcome back to Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on 3FM 92.7. Now, on the poll tracker, as you do know, if you're new to the party, and then just for the uninitiated, this is a data-driven segment of the show where we show you verifiable or publicly verifiable data that you can find yourself and follow every step of the way regarding the issues that borders on the economy, governance, corruption, the environment, anything that is data reflective, we will talk about it. Now, President John Dramani Mahama is almost 18 months into his administration, second term. Now, since assuming office in January 2025, key economic indicators that have moved in the right direction between January 2025 and April, May 2026, that's within the period that we're looking at. Inflation falling from 23.5 to around, as at the time, 3.4%. cedi appreciated by 26% against the major trading currencies. The Bank of Ghana's policy rate has also been cut from 27% down to 14%. Average commercial lending rates have also declined from around 32% to approximately 20%. So Ghana's GDP, as we're seeing as well, also declined from 61.8 at the end of, that's the debt to GDP ratio, end of 2024, to about 45.3% at end of 2025. Now, these are verifiable. Gains have been recognized by international credit rating agencies. We're talking about Fitch, Moody's, S&P, all upgrading Ghana's foreign credit rating. The first triple upgrade we've seen in many years. The question now remains, exactly how has that impacted or influenced the standard of living? And then also the day-to-day living of people. Remember, it is all about the bread and butter issues, right? So when you're going to the people, you're talking about the approval rating of the president. Well, guess what? This past few days gone by, there's been 2 surveys or polls testing the pulse of the people regarding the approval or disapproval of the president in the last 17 months in office. The Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, put their own poll out, and the Global Info Analytics as well put out their own poll. And this is going to be the focus of the poll tracker this morning. This is the Global Info Analytics poll. They had some 7,484 sample size. And the deployment of the sample, we're talking about all 16 regions, 83 constituencies out of the lot that we have. And also the random sampling is what they use, essentially with online sampling with regional quota limits. The confidence level in this one, as we have seen, is 99%. And this is why I bring in Musa Dankwa. He is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Musa Dankwa is joining us in the studio to have a conversation on this particular matter as we have it, and then also what this really means regarding what the president has been doing over the period. Now, Mr. Dankwa, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You promised that you're going to be back in 2 weeks. You're here. Let me acknowledge the presence also of Amanda Clinton. Amanda Clinton is a private legal practitioner and then also one who is committed to the development of Ghana in many ways. She's a governance analyst as well. Amanda Clinton, it's good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Also joining us is Mike Okoye Jr. He is former Ghana High Commissioner to India and a former parliamentary candidate of the NPP in the Dom Kwabenya constituency. And he's joining us in the studio. It's been a while. Good morning.
A very long while.
Indeed.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Also joining us, Senior Hosi is one of the conveners of the One Ghana movement. He's a finance and social policy analyst, and he's a man of many parts, so I'll leave it there. Senor, good morning. Thank you for coming.
Always a pleasure.
Also joining us shortly is Martin Pebble, private legal practitioner, a member of the oral preparatory team. Is going to be taking his seat shortly. And Kojoga Adawodu is also a member of the NDC and also a private legal practitioner as well. So he'll be joining us. But this is it. Mr. Dankwa,
yes.
You have your confidence of 99% in what you have put out regarding the president's approval rating. And you did this between the period of when? This survey?
30th May to 12th June.
30th May to 12th June.
Yes.
And this was what? Face-to-face and web?
It's a combination of face-to-face and web-based survey.
If you say web-based, what do you mean?
It means the respondents were sent the questionnaire over the internet and they responded to it.
I see. Interesting. So you asked a question about the direction of the country.
Yes.
And the blue bar represents the June outcome, and then the green bar represents the March outcome. So what that means is that you did this survey in March.
Yes.
March 2026, and 3 months on, you're doing another one. Okay. So in March 2026, 65% of the respondents said the country is going in the right direction. 3 months on, that's increased to 66%. Do you drill down this to find out why exactly they are saying the country is going in the right direction?
You can always triangulate because beside asking these questions, there are other questions we ask. For example, your standard of living. Has it improved in the last 12 months or is it deteriorated? Now you can see those who are said or who are saying it has improved.
Right.
What are they saying about the direction of the country? You can go into the data and see those who say the top key issues for me are the economy, jobs, and that, and see what are they saying about the direction of the country. So it gives you what we call cross-tab analysis to see what may be driving these kind of decisions that people are making.
I see. And those who are saying the country is going in the wrong direction, that also reduced from, I think it's just the same margin.
Yeah, just within the margin of error of 1.5%. So largely the same, frankly.
From 28% to 27% between March and June.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more people saying, well, the country is going in the right direction 3 months on.
Correct.
There are those who say they don't have any opinion. Why? They haven't experienced anything.
Sometimes they sit on the fence, waiting for a time to see whether they can come to that conclusion. Wait and see kind of attitude.
But what's interesting that I found as well is that the people that you spoke to, who make up your sample size, you have farmers or persons in agriculture, housewives, traders, businessmen and women, security forces, households and domestic. What's the difference between household, domestic and housewives?
These are workers in the house.
I see.
Like cleaners, the cooks, and those who do the menial work in the homes. Whereas housewives are the housewives.
I see. But these cleaners and those, you go to them physically, face to face?
No, we meet them on the street, and they tell us what they do.
Right.
So we don't target anybody. Once we are engaged with you in the interview, at the end of the interview, we ask you which profession best suit you as a voter, or as an engineer, architect. I'm a legal person, or I'm finance and accounting. I'm a teacher or a lecturer. So we slot them into those categories. As
vocational, technical, and trade profession, media and communication. You interview journalists.
Yeah, because we don't know who we are engaging, but you will tell us where you belong to.
I see. But what I see is that the profession that gave the president, in terms of this percentage, the lowest, is about 63%. That's the housewives.
The lowest?
Yeah, I mean, you look at that. Housewives and then traders, businessmen and women. What does that tell you?
Not all is not well. I mean, you can't say that everything is well in this country. We've made some macroeconomic gains. People are working to see a bigger translation of that gains into personal people's lives. And these people are also affected by that. Sometimes when trade volumes go down, you have impact of that, low sales and stuff like that. We've heard people make noise about low sales volume in some cases, and those are the reality on the ground. But are they the majority? That's the question we should be asking.
Well, that's the question that you see reflected here. State of corruption. It's a conversation we would get into in a big one with the fight against corruption and so on. But then again, the approval rating of the president, this one, job approval. After the direction of the country, job approval of the president. You say in March, 67% of the respondents said the president is doing well. Now, 3 months on, you say 71% of the respondents say the president is doing. That's about 4 percentage point increase. Fast forward to those who disapprove of his work, that he is not doing well. That also reduced from 26% in March to 23%. And those who say they have no opinion, from 7% to 6%. Now, taking into consideration what I mentioned earlier, what exactly then led to this increase that we are seeing between 67 and 71%? And I'll come to the next issue about what the others are putting out.
Look, people are very rational. Some may be unhappy with certain aspect of their lives, yet they would approve the president. Some are happy, yet they disapprove the president. Now, if you look at the issue about people's standard of living, has it improved compared to a year ago? So about 54% said it has improved. So on the basis of their own personal lifestyle or cost of living or standard of living, they've seen an improvement. Even though it's a small reduction compared to March, it is not material enough for them to revolt against the president.
Right.
Now, even those who mention areas that they believe the government is not doing well, most of them are still approving him. So despite having challenges in their own lives or other aspect of governance, they still approve the president in terms of his performance.
I see. So they are seeing they have their own challenges. Things are not going well, as you indicated, because you drill down, you ask them further questions, you get to know that they are also experiencing one challenge or the other.
Yes.
But then they still go ahead to approve of the president's work.
Yes. It
That's
tells
interesting.
you how popular he is. But the fact that they are going through challenges did not dampen their motivation to vote for him or to say that he's doing well.
I see. Now, I needed to understand that because there is, and I'm sure you've seen this. Have you seen the IEA survey?
Yes.
The Institute of Economic Affairs also went on the same path that you are on. And they also did approval ratings of the president. And they used a sample size of about 1,000, thereabout. That cuts across all 16 regions as well. But the sample size is relatively insignificant when you're looking at, a poll of this nature. Now, among those who approve, 73.5% cite the economy, 16% point to road infrastructure. And take note, those who are approving of the president's work, they are looking at the economy. According to the IEA, Institute of Economic Affairs, 73.5% those who approved. And did you see that reflected in yours as well? Because that also, this.
Yes, I mean, if you look at those who mention economy, huge number are approving his performance. Those who mention the currency as a factor, approving his performance. Those who mention the cost of living are approving his performance. And in this country, Alfred, 3 things determine what happens in our election outcome: the economy, the CD, cost of living.
Absolutely. There's a bread and butter issues, right? And that's what we see, reflected in yours as well. But what is different is that those who are disapproving of the president, 30.9%, they cite the economy as well. Now, for them, in terms of approval rating, and I just want us to do this exercise and understand this, they are comparing between December 2025 and May 2026. In December 2025, you had, that's the blue bar, you had 67.8% of the respondents approving of the work of the president as of December 2025. So you probably would just say 68% if you round it up. Fast forward, they are rather seeing a reduction in terms of those who are approving of the work of the president. That has reduced from December 68% to 59% in May 2026. So that's about almost an 9 percentage points reduction of the approval rate of the president, according to the IEA poll between December 2025 and May 2026. Yours, you are rather showing us an appreciation of the president's approval rating from March to June, 67% to 71%. What did you see that is different from the outcome that we are seeing in the IEA one?
You know, when you are comparing two polls, you have to be very, very careful. Even similar polls by the same entity can produce different results. What you do largely is to look at the period in which the surveys were conducted. What period were they covering, and what were the events around those periods? Right. That's the first thing. And second thing is the sample distribution.
Okay.
In this business, the sample distribution is very important. We tell you exactly how many people were interviewed in Greater Accra, Ashanti, Eastern, Western, and everywhere.
Okay.
And that distribution reflects the structure of the population that vote in this country. So we weight the sample allocation based on EC register. It's very important. The smaller the sample size, the bigger the margin of error. In our survey, we tell you the margin of error, 1.5. We don't know their margin of error. And with the size of people that are voting in Ghana today and their sample size, there will be a huge margin of error.
I see. But then again, that sample size in the larger scheme of things, if you're doing the analysis, also is reflective of the kind of outcome we'll see, is it not?
Yes.
Regardless
so
of
if you take a small sample size, look, see, the sample size has impact on the margin of error. If you take a sample size of 1,000, vis-a-vis 1.8 or 80 million population that vote, and you say, what should be the margin of error based on this population that I'm going to interview? It will tell you. And that margin of error will be significantly higher than what we have as 1.5.
With your higher
sample size, the margin of error reduces.
But yours, how many did you have in person? Because from the one I
7,800 and I think 484 in person.
I see.
And we added the web because, look, society has changed. You cannot continue to use methodology applied in Ghana 40 years ago, still today. You must revolve. People have moved to social media. You must find a way of hearing from them as well. That's why we combine the web mode and the in-person survey.
I see. Let me just put it on record that we extended an invitation to the Institute of Economic Affairs to be part of this conversation. They gave us approval to use their survey, but said they cannot be physically represented here. So I just have to put it on record as well. Martin Pebu is joining us now. Council, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Kansi.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back on Ghana's #1 talk show, right? See how we're popping the charts, unbreakable, unstoppable, untouchable. Thank you very much, the people of Ghana, for knowing where to put your dial, right? Yeah, so the rituals. Oh, it's unfortunate Yasantwa has resigned from the Council of State. Very, very unfortunate.
We'll
but Yasantwa,
we'll come to it.
We still support you. Let's see what the next chapter would be. Okay, the same to Domahini, Osiadeyo Ajimambedu the second, Gamanche Kintaki Tekuchu the second, and Togbe Apede. Right, thank you very much, the valiant men. Of course, hey, I should add my good friend Anna Ansakwa. I've forgotten that those days when it was unpopular to talk about Kufuor, Nana Ansakwa of Joy FM was one of those other chiefs and a radio host who kept pushing the boundaries, and eventually we saw what we got in the election 2024. Thank you. And men above 40, please, the prostate check, very important. We need you to have a nation.
Important.
And in the process, don't forget, please, no more urination at the roadside, no more open urination.
It's important.
Find a bottle, or find a bathroom. Okay.
Noble advocacy. Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin Pebo. Now, you drill down to the first-time voters.
Yes.
As in those who you surveyed who are first-time voters. And rather, take a look at that. For the first-time voters, you had in March a reduction.
No, this is... We didn't do comparison of first-time voters in the previous survey.
Okay.
What we are doing now is, what is the segmentation of the approval? Among first-time voters, those who didn't, they are going to be voting for the first time.
Right.
A critical block that must begin to win their minds and heart before the race. What is their view? If you are in trouble, the science starts from there.
I see.
Now, among the first-time voters, 77% approve of his performance, much higher than the general population. The general population is 71%.
Right.
Those who disapproved, first-time voters is 20%. General population 24%. And those who have no opinion, 3% among first-time and 5% among those who are experienced voters. When you consolidate the two, that's what you get, the 71%.
71%. I see. Now, and I just needed to get that distinction. So I'm taking the conversation to the table now. And you see the two outcomes of the two surveys asking relatively same question about their approval or disapproval of the president's work. Musa underscores some of the factors that could have influenced why we are seeing two different outcomes, two different surveys asking the same question about whether you approve or disapprove of the work of the president.
One thing I wanted to add is that our responses to voters were much more broader.
Which is,
we give you a chance to say you strongly approve the performance or somewhat disapprove. Or you strongly disapprove or somewhat disapprove, and then no opinion. What this does is that not everybody will be happy with entirely everything. And he can't box the president into disapproval. When you provide shades of approval and disapproval, they have the ability to say, oh, somewhat I approve, somewhat I disapprove. And that gives you a true measure of the performance of the president. And that is the gold standard used by international pollsters around the world.
And you say that there are those who responded saying all is not well with them, but yet they approve of the president's work.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Let me bring in Senor Osion first to start off with this one. And I look at the two. Now, the IEA's verdict is that the president's job approval has reduced percentage-wise by the people, or the people's verdict, from 68% to about 59%. That's about 9 percentage points reduction between December 2025, May 2026. Global Info Analytics paints a different picture regarding what has happened now, that there is rather an appreciation from 67% to 71%. The same question, different outcomes.
Well, I think that we should get one of the things out of the way. You're looking at different data points, possibly also different methodologies. And it's important that we contextualize Global Info Analytics. There's no dispute about the level of credibility they've established over the years. They've been a very professional entity, making very bold calls, which have largely proven very accurate. They are not a fly-by-night institution. 7 major data analytics institutions like Fitch and Co. There are 7 companies like Deloitte, Guinness, Ghana and Co. This is not a political institution. It's a very professional institution. And I really commend Musa Danko and his team for the kind of work that they have done. They brought credibility to the conversation about polling. So contextualize what they have done properly. And this is also an institution that has people consistently on ground because of the nature of their work in 276 district constituencies or so.
Yes.
So, my brother, it's not just waking up one morning and trying to get something done or pretending to do something. I beg you. Let's stop throwing politics about the data that Global Info Analytics puts out there. They made predictions about parliament, they were proven very right. They made predictions about Baumia's election, they were proven very right. They made predictions about the 2024 elections, uncomfortable as it was for some, comfortable as it was for others, they were proven very, very right. He's making still predictions even about the NDC today and their, what do you call that thing, the primaries coming. Some people are shouting, some people are screaming. Just listen and learn. Let policy be driven by more data. And I really commend what you continue to do. Thankfully, you have a legitimate business to fund what you do. So it's not politicians who have to fund what you do. So it gives me reason as an analyst to trust the kind of data that comes out of what they do. You are looking at a sample size of about 8,000 with an electoral frame. The sample frame being the electoral college of Ghana, or the electoral data row of Ghana. That actually gives more of a defining output of what those who define how elections will play out will play on this particular conversation. So please let's stop that. Having said that, it's not to say to write off what IEA2 has done. All right. They've also done something. They had 1,000 voters. You see a lot more dynamism and a lot more flexibility. Looking at the questions that were asked with what Global Info Analytics put out relative to what IEA did. So that creates room for things like triangulation, trying to actually revalidate certain positions that were made. Absolutely. They ask you, do you approve? They come and ask you if you're happy about something. How do you approve and be unhappy? It helps you put data into proper context. So the methodology, I would rely a bit more on Global Info Analytics. But again, it is not dismissive of what IEA has done. You are looking at different data points. But largely, when you look at what both are saying, they somewhat complement each other. You showed us something on IEA.
Yes.
And on the economy, what did they say?
On the economy, 73.5% cited the economy as the factor for approval of the president's work.
Yes.
Right? And then if you look at it, reasons given for the approval, the economy tops.
Yes.
For the IEA.
Yes.
73% of the respondents who approve of the president's work.
Yes.
Cited the economy.
Yes.
And the second, road infrastructure, 16%. Yes. Energy, electricity, 2.7%. The fight against corruption, 2.1%. And other factors, 6.1%.
So we'll take a step back at what the NCC actually did. When it was looking at the concerns of the voter going to the 2024 elections. And then you realize that the economy was really driving almost everything. 54% of the people were focused on jobs. The same group of people were focused on economy. As a matter of fact, the top 6 things that really mattered to the Ghanaian voter were jobs, economy, cost of living, utilities. Box all these 40s, as you know, the same economy matter and cost of living.
Indeed.
You understand? So if this is at the heart of it, you actually have to go to measure the validity or the reliability of this data based on that primary concern. What is the state of the economy? We all know what the situation is. Even the NPP people are happy about the cooling of things. It doesn't mean that things will not go off. It also doesn't mean that things are all good. But looking at where we were, there's a certain level of stability we've achieved. Inflation has crashed in record numbers. So the cost of living has become much less worse than we were experiencing before. And everybody is happy about it. You can't hide the issue about the currency. Everybody sees it. Everybody can relate to it directly at the marketplace. But there are critical issues that are still lingering. Issues like employment. So stability is not necessarily a translation to productivity. It creates a base for economic productivity.
Indeed.
So there's a certain tolerance that you give every government based on where you are coming from. We were in a dire strait at the time that this government came into office. What they achieved, many economists, analysts, including myself, did not think we were going to be able to achieve what was achieved in this space of time. So you cut them definitely some slack. But I said this the last time, that stability will soon be forgotten. People's real lives, looking for jobs, you're having 500,000 of you joining the unemployment path every year. It's not sustainable. You understand?
True.
So there is going to be a certain drop if economic transformation driven by productivity, sitting on the back of the stability, is not realized.
Stability is not enough.
You understand? Stability is not enough. Stability that creates a pathway for productivity. All right? So They've done that. And that's why we are all waiting patiently for what the PCI, which we are doing with IMF right now, would and the policies around that, all right? Because we have a policy coordination instrument right now with them, with IMF.
True.
In July, which is next month, Ato Forson and His Excellency the President are supposed to come and tell us exactly the transformative interventions that will drive us from stability to productivity. So that's where the conversation is. So depending on what that sample size is, and maybe how skewed or how dispersed, how very representative it may be, you will pick some of these sentiments. Either way, the conclusion is clear. The president is still a popular president. His governance is very validated by all parties. Okay, but he cannot feel that comfortable. It is just a matter of time. We have another 6-month window where this stability would and its impact would expire. You understand? Because Ghanaians are going to take it for a given that is there. Nanado brought in one of the most important socio-economic interventions, being the free SHS. All right, I supported the free SHS. The only thing I told government at the time is that free SHS and corruption don't go together, because it costs to do that. And if you don't deal with corruption, minimize the leakages, all you're going to have is that you're going to have sub-quality. But so you have a relatively a bigger population, part of the population who are relatively literate. So people can think. People can discern. People can actually agree that, yes, I'm not going to expect things to just transform all of a sudden. Yeah. But also can tell that because you have held on the purse, ensure fiscal stability, minimize expenditure in real terms in a certain level, or its growth to a certain level, all of a sudden I'm getting a job. No, I'm going to school to work. So in 6 months, this government holiday honeymoon is over. But for now, they are saying the right things. They're having the governance things. Those little things, LGBTQ and things, if you even look at the consensus of the voter, were irrelevant. Were very minor. Whether somebody wants to sleep with another man or sleep with another woman, it's not. People are more focused on their pocket, how they are feeding their children and feeding themselves and trying to build a meaningful life for themselves. So that's why this conversation is total unnecessary noise. It doesn't mean we shouldn't deal with them. We should deal with them in a very structured way. The key thing is transforming stability into productivity. And that window is 6 months from now.
6 months from now.
Oh, forget it after that, forget it. Oh, bro, your English has finished after 6 months.
Amanda, please, what is your verdict and what is the state of your pocket 1 year, 7 months on?
Well, I think the figures are very promising. I'm surprised they're so good in terms of the economy, etc. And I do concur with what was just said in terms of, from stability to productivity is very important. But as your viewers look at, all these figures and everything, I think the most important thing to them is, how are they feeling it in their pocket? In terms of there is still high youth unemployment, and the cost of living is definitely improved, but Ghana is an incredibly expensive country to live in. I would compare it to London and different countries in terms of no matter what status you're in, everything is extremely expensive in Ghana. And so although these figures are wonderful and they're comparable and they're insightful, the bottom line is it's still incredibly expensive to live in Ghana. I wonder how a lot of poorer, people survive. And this honeymoon period is truly over in terms of, what government says it will do, it will do. And I do very much agree that the next 6 months will show us if it is going to move from stability to productivity. But with the figures and everything else, the bottom line is the cost of living is incredibly high in Ghana. We wonder how a lot of people survive. And, youth employment, there's a lot more added every year.
Absolutely.
And so government has also got to be quite practical in that sense, in terms of, nobody can give you a job. Even for me, for instance, when I moved back to Ghana, I worked with the Attorney General's department. I got a job. But afterwards, you know, if you're going to see real financial growth or whatever, you've got to do it yourself in terms of becoming an entrepreneur, etc. And so government perhaps has to look into the figures of, you can't always give a man a fish in terms of employment. You've got to teach them how to fish. And with youth, they are always online. So teach more and more young people how to set up a website for, you know, $15 equivalent. Hosting Go Horizons will build the whole website for you. How to attract people, how to focus on tourism, for instance. You know, there's a lot of people coming in.
Yeah.
So focus on things that you can get money from. So government would have to be a bit more creative, but I still think the cost of living is incredibly high, has to be addressed. And the unemployment rate is also very high and can be addressed in different ways, including teaching more young people how to become entrepreneurs.
Very important point. Victor Kojogo Adawudu, as I indicated, was going to be joining us. He's here in person now. As a private legal practitioner, member of the NDC as well. Counsel, good morning. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure being on this great platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Michael Quay, Jr., on this, and there are two indicators that Madam Clinton mentioned: the cost of living, unemployment. Senior Hossi as well highlighted that the platform has been created with the stability we're experiencing now. It is not enough. It has to be built upon. What Musa Dankwa said is that even though there are some people who are experiencing these two, the cost of living being high and then also, you know, having their own challenges, they still approve of the president's work. What does that tell you?
Speaking to me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Good day. And Alfred, I want to start by just asking something. Just want to be sure. Since the IEA thing came out, have they also been able to come out publicly on TV3 to explain their numbers?
No.
No. Okay. So at least we have one perspective of an explanation from my brother Musa Dankwa, who, even when I met him today, I told him that I think he's one of the most credible pollsters we have, and he should continue his work in that regard. But suffice to say, the IEA also has a similar credibility. We know the kind of work that they've been doing, especially with the IEA debates and all the various polls, which we've not had any reason to doubt. So next time, just for balance, we can also at least, even if it's on the phone, also ask them what went into their poll, so that we can understand their perspective.
I think that's why I put out the caveat. And
oh no, don't worry. I know you've done that, and that's why. No, don't feel like I'm actually
I'm just saying.
You. And that's why I started with the fact that let's interrogate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, because we are interrogating Musa Dankwa. He's here to explain the details of why he arrived at those figures. I'm just saying the IEA were here in one way or the other. They can also give us more information, so that we all understand it better. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. I just wanted to indicate that.
Oh, I don't know if they've been invited.
No, that's what I said. I indicated it earlier quite clearly. That we extended the invitation to the IEA.
Exactly.
They gave us the approval to use their work, but they declined being here physically. I think I needed to.
So that's why I had to ask that, because that wasn't clear to me. Maybe it was clear to you earlier. He said earlier. We have to interrogate those issues and see how it goes. Now, polls are polls, and this is what it's saying. That is fine. But I also know that despite all of that, we are in a honeymoon period. We all saw the MPP honeymoon period for the first 2 years. I don't know if Musa had polls then to tell us how it was at that particular time. But we know that the approval ratings of the MPP for the first 2 years, i.e. 2017 and 2018, were very high. People were very excited with the work that was going on. In fact, I dare say it went on all the way up to even 2019 until the horrible worldwide pandemic of COVID-19 attacked all of us. And at that point, we all know how most economies, international, even the UK, my brother Senyo, and if you remember very well, when people talk about the 50% inflation of Ghana and don't talk about the 44% inflation of the UK, the highest since the World War. I shudder. It was a global pandemic. I mean, countries had to be giving their citizens free money. We saw all of this around the world. But Ghana was not in that position. So if you talk about an economy that went down to 50% inflation due to a worldwide pandemic, but even after that, within 2 years of 2022 to 2024, it was halved to 23%. And that recovering patient, using the words of my dear friend Atufo, that recovering patient continued to recover after 2024. It's not as if we left you an empty coffer. We left you tons of gold, which you were able to sell to buffer the economy. We left the economy in a position which was resilient, $9 billion of reserve. All of these allowed the NDC to make a decision because we have two different ways of handling money. Now, if you have a father who gives you property, for property because he was saving, and when you get the for property, you decide that, look, I'm going to liquidate 2 and use it to chuck something in a bank account or to help me to finance a business I want to do, you don't forget the 4 houses that were bought by your father in the meantime. You remember the fact that, yes, whilst you have decided to spend, they decided to save because we needed certain buffers so that later the economy will go better. So these are things. What is not? When
gold was sold by Bank of Ghana, which I think is what you are saying, all we did was again to still retain and shore up our reserve. It wasn't spent.
No, wait. There's a liquidation.
Yes,
somebody
liquidating an asset.
So
still within the balance sheet.
No, you're not getting me. Balance sheet is balance sheet, I understand. But I'm saying that the gold reserves were there as a reserve. Now, when you sell the gold and put it on your balance sheet or whatever, that's still liquidated the reserve. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying the gold was already on the balance sheet.
No, I didn't talk about balance sheet. You are giving a different interpretation.
No, I'm trying to explain what happened.
No, you are not explaining.
I'm just saying that there's no expenditure.
No, I am giving.
That's what I'm saying.
But what are you talking about? Of course, there's using almost 10 billion to show up the
I'm
dollar.
saying that liquidating the asset did not translate to spending the asset.
You're not getting me.
That's what I'm saying.
But I never talked about expenditure, did I?
No, you said to spend.
No, I never said
to spend. Asset has been liquidated. What's the import of your reference to what the Bank of Ghana did?
There is what we call continuous business, continuous economy. What we don't want to happen is that people to just write off the previous work that was done under strenuous circumstances. That is my point. And the point I'm saying is that if something has been left in the coffers to buffer it, and you are able to liquidate it, and that's the word I'm using, liquidate it to also shore up certain things in the balance sheet, if you like, or in any other way that this has been used, I think that it's a credit that must be acknowledged. But my brother, we are talking about approval and all the other things that have been seen in this survey. Yes, that there's nothing wrong with that, as I said, because honeymoon period is honeymoon period. We experienced same in our first 2 years, and we can see it. But I am telling you that the goodwill is going to dwindle even further if I were to use the IEA angle. And why is that the case? Let us take one of the biggest issues that we were promised as Ghanaians, galamsey. How is it going? For the better? And I am very surprised that recently the president was talking about NIMOS and the challenges that NIMOS are facing when they go and confront the Ghanaians. Is it not the same NDC who in 2020, when President Akufo-Addo was going around saying he wants to put his presidency on the line for galamsey, they went around and told the people that don't mind him. You can do your galamsey when we come back. When we arrest you, when they arrest you, we will release you. We saw it. And when you promise people that when you come, when they are arrested for galamsey charges, you release them, how then do you come into power and attempt to arrest them? They won't listen to you. So these areas, for example, are some of the reasons why the galamsey problem is failing, because the people's expectation is that when you come, you allow us. We saw my dear friend Akamba. We saw my dear friend Obin. We saw them in the pits getting all sorts of hooray from galamsey people that this is what they will do. This is chopping off. My brother, we are today in an economy where cashew, which was just 25 cedis per kilo in 2024, today it is 10 cedis per kilo. Are those people happy? How can you be happy under such circumstances? I don't know if he spoke to cashew farmers in his survey.
Are you asking him, Mr.
No, I'm just asking if he or anybody. No, it's not. It's a rhetorical question.
Okay, I see.
I don't know if he spoke to cashew farmers. As for him, he may have done his job. There's no problem. I don't have a problem with him. But I am telling you that you, as a journalist, go and talk to the cashew farmers. Very upset because now their value is virtually less. And when I hear people talk about the fact that the dollar has come down, the dollar has depreciated against the cedi, my brother, that's a good thing. But the question that my brother and sister asked, productivity. For production, a stronger cedi is a disadvantage. It's good for importation. But why do you think China, they always make sure that they are chasing the dollar?
So you see,
again, that's a balance.
It's not a straight off.
Exactly. There's
a balance.
It's not.
Context is important. If you say that for production.
You are balancing and balancing.
No. You see,
so you just
yeah. No, but if you say for production, for production and appreciation,
to 30
he is deciding to look at.
You're
deciding to look at a certain side of the balance which favors your argument.
Exactly.
But
then again,
but we want it to be more balanced.
No, but I'm saying what should I? I'm explaining something. Look, my brother.
We don't need an extremely strong CD.
No,
so we can't have an extremely weak CD.
So
there has to be a balance.
Do you think that the balance from the 14 straight to the 10 is a good balance? No. In fact, one point I have always made is that if the government had actually retained it at the 14, it creates something called certainty. And secondly, would have invested less money into trying to sustain the dollar. So if we're looking at 1 point, for example, for every 2.5 billion that we've used, that's for the 4. We could have been able to save more in that direction. So this is where me too, my argument is coming in. But you can look at it whichever way. One of the areas that at least I know that I have competency in is about production for export. And I'm telling you that it has affected our prices for export. Big time. And this is part of the production problem. Because now importation has a big advantage and production for export has a disadvantage. So this is part of when your city appreciates and areas that we should look at. Let us look at...
Round up for me,
yeah.
please.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
yeah, very much. Let us look at various areas like even education. We know in this country, one of the things that were promised in education, and I remember my older brother, Esiedun Ketia, saying this vividly, double track will end in 9 months. You remember? 9 months. We still have double track. So if that is a problem,
I think sometime within the week, the education minister indicated some $300 million.
My brother, he should indicate whatever he wants.
To face it out in the next couple of years.
My point is my point, and you don't always interrupt. Sometimes others too make their point. Let them make their point. My point is why I'm here. And my point is that you promised something will happen in 9 months, and it's more than 9 months, it's not happened. Simple, that's my point. So whatever the education minister is talking about doing tomorrow or next year or in the future or whenever he's given his budget to be able to sustain the amount of teachers he's complaining about, not me, that he wanted 90,000 teachers and they gave him only 7,000. Are you going to explain that too for him? Let us look at the real situation on the ground. 24-hour economy. What is going on there? Nothing. And when we sit in this economy, where now the secretariat itself is earning rather than working, then these are points that people are going to be worried about in terms of approval. So let us juxtapose all these things. The honeymoon period is there. We wish President John Mahama well in the things that he says that he will do, but he must do them. Otherwise, some of us will point them out, whether here or even in Parliament, to be able to explain to him that you said you do this. You said you bring boreholes in the middle of cocoa farm and use the water to water the cocoa farm. Is it flowers? Because you can't water cocoa. My grandfather is a cocoa farmer. You can never water cocoa with water hose. So these are things that cocoa farmers are disappointed. Cashew farmers are disappointed. Many other sectors of our economy are disappointed. So the honeymoon period is now. let us see what happens in the future.
On this.
Okay, so let's correct a few things first. I don't think, to be very clear, the president didn't say when they come they will allow galamsey. That's not what he said.
He said they will release the people who were doing the galamsey.
And they said they will reorganize. They didn't say that go ahead and do galamsey.
He never said.
They will be released.
Yes.
He said he was going to release the boys.
Yes.
But he was going to arrest the kingpins. They are still waiting for the kingpins.
So please, and also that they will reorganize the whole sector.
That our own people are not involved. Remember the way you can't kid ourselves. Martin, don't try to correct me because then
no, we have to.
Okay.
No,
if you do that, then I'll have to. No, there's no other side.
That's
man said release the boys.
But you said he said they will allow galamsey.
No, I never said that. I said they will release the people.
Okay, no, how can you arrest them? That's what I said. If that's why he's corrected it.
No, it's not that.
He was emphatic several times that they will allow galamsey. That's why I decided to keep quiet.
You release the boys. You release them to
it's false. He said they will arrest kingpins, and then number two, they will reorganize so that these guys will get better jobs. So don't do that.
We are all waiting for the kingpins.
Yes, so say that. So let me go. So if you were to say,
no.
Yes, the Samra boy thing.
No, the Samra boy is not galamsey.
No,
is that not galamsey?
Hold on.
The kingpins and the Tamani, we identified them as kingpins. We reported them as a coalition before you came. So that's one. You should bring your own kingpins, including the people who are from your own stock. That's the one that will make us so that you are really doing something.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm not being fair.
Thank you. No. Look, I think that you
that is my
have,
point.
That's not the point.
You said you allow galamsey.
Why did you release them?
No, that's not logical. When you spoke, I kept quiet.
Hold on.
I knew you were misleading, but I kept quiet. I kept quiet. Now I'm correcting. So next time you have the opportunity. Yes, so please don't mislead the public. Don't mislead it. It didn't look very ridiculous. It looked very ridiculous. It looked like we had no brains to even say that the man said when he comes you allow galamsey, and we went ahead and voted for him.
Who said about allow?
That's why
he said you release them.
No, he said you allow them to do galamsey.
You don't understand that.
Play the tape. That's what he said.
Did he say you release them?
Now, point number two, let's make a second correction, please. It's false to say that inflation in the UK was 44% during COVID. That's false. Show us which data is that. Listen, maybe you're talking about...
He was set, but show me.
Yes, I have data, so I'll show you. Listen, you see, there's a difference. If you say that, you see, they usually do inflation 2%, 3%, because you see, currently as we speak in the EU, right, they are 2%. UK as we speak now, they are 2.8%. They want to come to the EU level of 2%, right? Mm-hmm. Now, during COVID, you had inflation going 9%, 10%, and then sometimes, yes, so that's the range. So what you want to say is that maybe from the normal 2%, if inflation went to 9, 10, it's about 44% jump. That's different. So I want us to make this very clear. In Ghana, we had the inflation hitting 54%. 54%. UK was never 44%. What we are talking about...
In COVID time, UK inflation, I think, actually dropped.
Yes.
Because demand significantly dropped.
So please, that's different.
It picked up in the next one, which got to double digits for the first time in a long while. But 54,
44. He said 44. So 44 is false. Please. There was no 44 anywhere. You are talking about their usual inflation being 2%, 3%, 4%. Then COVID yanked it up to 9, 10. In the US, that was the same thing. So they are talking about the jump. But there was never an absolute of
44%.
So, but they are doing 10%, 9%. Whilst we were at 54, we were doing galloping inflation.
So just
let me give you the data. It was a deflation in 2020. Again, deflation in 2021. Then we had an inflation of 11 in 2022. At the point, the inflation actually. But I just left. But we are correcting it so that nobody. No.
44%.
Now you admit. Okay,
yes, that's fine. Yes. I mean, I'm honorable enough to buy 44%. The figure is still right.
It's all right.
Thank you for that.
Now we come to the.
You're just taking advantage of technicality.
Hold on. You've admitted it's okay.
Okay, now let's come to the substantive. You know, it's interesting on the basis. When I say interesting, the fact that Musa Dankwa has some credibility, IEA also has some, and now they are producing different results. And I'm happy he says yes, it's justifiable in the sense that it depends on the sample size, the questions, etc. So there isn't much to be said to the extent that we agree that the methodology, etc., could produce these different outcomes, right? Yeah, there isn't much. But what matters at the end of the day is like what Amanda Clinton said, Senior Husi said, that yes, we've made progress. We are still excited. Of course, I'm the number one person to be excited. You know, those days, I could never come here and leave without mentioning Ofori-Atta. They've chopped our money. They are stealing us like there's no tomorrow. Kennedy Japan's mantra, etc. Yes.
Finding a way to mention
yeah, we were. That's okay. I'm landing.
Muhammad said,
we'll get there. We'll get there, obviously. Hold on.
Mention the
if you hadn't run us around, JM wouldn't have even come. No, it's as simple as this. The connection is
the argument is correct.
If you hadn't run us, we sacked JM. We sacked JM. It was very clear. Yes. We told JM in 2016 that, look, he's not even fit to be president. That was the narrative. Everybody, it was free. We could now analyze and say, but we're a stronger nation. JM can never be president of this country. We insulted him left, right, center. Only for Akufo-Addo to come and take us further down.
Mohammed's approval.
Okay. No.
Then we saw that, so JM is actually better. That's how come Laimomo. Laimomo went back to the old girlfriend.
This one,
that is what you did.
To agree.
Like Laimomo will come.
Baumia will never try Baumia.
Let's read that. Let's come
So now, moving on. So you see, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that poverty is still a huge problem. It's still a huge problem. So yes, the figures, it's okay. That figures are showing he's at 71%, right? Now, it's good. That's for a certain segment of the people. But I know for me, when I come here, 71% job approval
Yes,
but when I come here, I'm here largely on behalf of the downtrodden, the people that can make ends meet. So for those people, and don't forget, Frank Davis say I'm like a carpenter. I'm a mason. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's it. So I represent carpenters, masons, hairdressers, shoe shine boys, etc. So for those down there, it's true that inflation has come down, and they mention it. You remember, we've been giving this often quoted example that last Christmas, they said, oh yes, for a long time now, rice had come down, the price of rice had come down so much that they could buy some to go celebrate Christmas, right, etc. So we all applaud the government for some significant progress in terms of bringing down the inflation. But there's still a huge chunk of our population who are unemployed. So for them, they don't earn. They are living on the incomes of parents, relations, etc. So times are still very hard. Very, 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 very hard. So what we want the president to hear is that those people, that's the unemployed youth. The unemployed youth. So how are we going to quickly translate the stability, as Senor also mentioned, into getting them jobs? That's the production. Yes, that's a key thing, because you remember that when MPP was coming in 2016, the mantra was from taxation to what? Production. So quickly we're like, yes, these are the people, Akufo-Addo and Baumia, and they said they will transform the economy in what? 18 months. But by the time COVID hit, they had more than double, 36 and over, yet they hadn't shown the rice they were farming, they hadn't shown any oil, they hadn't shown the chicken, you know, the food that we import, billions, when we have a lot of arable lands in Ghana, etc. So yes, the approval rating by Musa Dankwa looks good, right? But then, bottom line, for our unemployed youth, that is where the center of attention should be. Like the Americans say, they should be the what? Front and center of this conversation. And of course, even we still have a lot of locked up investments. You see the NDK financials. Yeah, Dr. Edu Anani Entry and his people. At first, it was without the IBAC and etc. But after we left those organizations, like we're done, there are still NDK financial, right? The customers who have their locked funds, then the other people, Nyami, the other group, that's the Gold Coast. So there are hundreds of thousands of our citizens who are still crying about locked up investments, and so times are hard. So on occasions like this, we'll celebrate a bit that Ghanaians generally feel that, yes, the president is doing well, but we also then use the same occasion to drum home the point that, hey, millions of our people are living below the poverty line, times are hard, people still have their locked up investment. So they are asking Dr. Siama to do something, because this locked up investment people, they've been trying to reach a Siama that, look, he should, come to the table quickly. Their reforms are taking too long. Right. Maybe they should hurry up so that eventually this locked up investment, something can be done. Government can help these people to get back their investments. And when these persons, they are workers, when they get back their monies, their families are better off. So it trickles into the whole economy. You say it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Council, thank you. And Mr. Dankwa, this is the constituents of your sample. So it cuts across. I see that you try to ensure that you capture at least I don't want to say front line, but people who are directly impacted by the state of affairs, specific to the economy. We see a chunk of the respondents in the IEA case referencing the economy as the major driver of their approval of the president. This one, 73%. How did the economy also fare in yours?
There is a chart, but you're not sure. You don't have it here. That's why we ask people what are the top issues that bother them as voters. And we look at their responses to who they are approving. On every measure we measured, most of them, even when there are issues, they are still approving the president.
And the economy is in there as big number one.
Yes, economy is there, cost of living is there, city is there, education is there, galamsey is there, doomsday is there, cocoa pricing is there, and most of them, regardless of the challenges that they are facing, still approving the president.
So, yes, stability good, but something more needs to be done. I think the unemployment rate has been touched on by everyone, which is a major matter that has to be addressed as quickly as possible, at least with what the Ghana Fiscal Service put out. We're seeing this increase as well, and how that impacts on development. Council.
Yes, thank you. And let me say good morning to all our listeners and viewers. I think that it is established. It's established that global info analytics has some credibility, and everybody will applaud the work that has been done for this number of years as to their prediction and the work that they do. So it is a proper source of information that we need to analyze. Yes, the economy has really, really improved. We started from somewhere that we were in dire financial straits. The economy wasn't doing well. That is why everybody is applauding the stability. Now, the challenge, in as much as it's a guide, the pools is a guide telling us what is good, what is being done well. There are also challenges that the pool is telling us, as panelists over here had said. They've talked about the unemployment, which is a fact. It's an inescapable fact that unemployment will churn out a lot of youth from our institutions, from the informal institutions also. And we need to think out of the box, because daily unemployment rate is increasing. These are also challenges that, whilst we get the data, now that data is speaking and telling us about the cost of living, right? I believe that the authorities, government is listening, and government takes very intense interest in matters that comes up, the pools, so that we analyze and we see how do we think out of the box. Now that there's stability, I think the other issue that is coming, look, is how do they feel it in their pocket? I will tell you that I go to the constituency, I go to the grassroots, I speak with them every day. But they appreciate that whilst there's stability, they have the belief that things will go well. If you look at the polls that he did, one of the areas apart from the economy doing well that the people talked about was the road infrastructure. Although people may not be satisfied, feel it in their pocket when they see roads that are being constructed, because it has been one of the biggest challenges for citizens. And you see the whole country now has become a construction site. The Eastern Corridor, Central Corridor, and the Western Corridor. Everywhere you go. And the challenges that they have with the roads, now that they are seeing it's being constructed, although there are places where they feel that when it rains, the contractors are not doing very well and they have challenges, they appreciate the fact that these roads will bring in improvement, these roads will bring better improvement in our lives. So you would see that from the polls, 16% of the people are happy about the construction of the road. Right. And I can tell you all the major roads in this country is affected. And every region in this country is affected by the roads construction, arteries. I can tell you, if you see the major roads, right from Volta, Aflawu, going through to Binduri, in Boku, cuts through to Navrongo, to Chuchuliga, to Tumu, almost those major roads, right down from Wa, Hamile, coming down to Wenchi. So you see all the corridors, everybody is a little bit satisfied and have approved. What I'm saying is also that I think the ambassador spoke about that galamsey was something that was not being done. He could see that government recently, even within this week, the reclamation effort that is being put in place, where the Gold Board, Forestry Commission, and the military has come together and they have voted 35 million for the galamsey issued for the reclamation to be done. So if somebody says that nothing is being done about galamsey, it is not true. Also, as we spoke about the kingpins, issues about galamsey, even if there's nothing, there's one evidence which is live in court as to the case, the allegations that have been made about the Akonta mining. Is that not a kingpin that is being put before court? So we should not just come and say...
So we'll wait for the ruling on July 3.
Yes, it's an allegation. If the prosecution is able to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, the court will decide. If they are not able to prove, the court will decide. That is why there is the judge who will look at the facts and the law before. Now, so when we also spoke about the double track, that the double track would have to be phased out. When you get into government, that's why I always say government is a continuum. Now, the MPP did very well, as they are saying, their honeymoon in 2017 to 2018, based on the IMF that we went to in 2015. And we had that homegrown solution from Akosombo. When we had the think tank in Akosombo, that was the benefit that came. That yes, during the 2017-18...
Are you talking about the Senchi?
Yes, the Senchi. I'm talking about the Senchi. Now, if you flip the side, what happened when they were leaving? It was a mess. And now that they are saying that we are enjoying the time, that the effort that has been put into this economy to bring it to stability, it's like apple and oranges. We have laid the foundation, they came and enjoyed it. Whilst they were going, things were not right. That is why people are applauding the stability. We are not forgetting as a government about the challenges that have been made.
I have even my kid brothers, I have relations who are unemployed. Every day, they may depend on me. I go to the constituents, I see people, cost of living. Look, you give somebody some little money, and you know the expression, they beam with smiles. Look, I can tell you, I went just car washing.
Are you announcing your intention
No,
to run
no.
for office?
Oh, definitely, I may run for office when the people decide.
I say no, it's because you've never spoken about constituency when you go to constituencies.
It's a reflection.
If I will vote for you, I want to know that you move my vote from my constituency.
Harry. Ghana needs your vote. Ghana needs your vote. NDC needs your vote. So we all need your vote.
The only thing that changed is your heart. Beautiful heart. That's all that.
This man has been This man has never reflected the economy since I met him.
And also, if you look at the issues of corruption that came here, you know, the corruptions normally are allegations until it's proven. Allegations are made. But what did we see? The days of scandals. Every day there are scandals. You hear of scandals. We never hear them this time.
One day, one scandal.
Not in our
one day, one scandal.
Not in our first 2 years.
Now we don't even hear of any scandal. That is why you will see that people will say the state of corruption.
You're a honeymoon. Enjoy.
Are you getting it?
Okay.
So that is some of the things that has come up with this pool. We know of IEA. If there is variation between global analytics and that of IEA, you just give us as guiding principle, guiding post, as leaders to make sure and know what is the state of economy. We may have the figures very good. One of the grassroots I met the other day, he said, one of the things is to be, he said, lawyer, if the government has a cited IMF and the people economy is good, then let the same government also try and excite us, we the grassroots, so that at the end of the day, we feel it. And I said, yes, this is a challenge that almost the leaders, the authorities know, and I can give you the assurance that government is working hard to make sure that this is done. It is just that they are putting in the modalities to make sure that we do not go back there. We do not spend. To understand that we would.
Thank you very much. Now, while we round up, you see, the bit of corruption that you touched on, and briefly, because you saw this, that's what I'm sure you referenced. Mr. Dankwa, one of the questions you've asked is about the corruption perception score. What's interesting is that I looked at your previous polls, and the first 4 or 5 haven't changed. Police service having been perceived to be the most corrupt is consistent with others. The Afrobarometer survey, immigration service, business executive, judiciary, the judiciary, tax officials, GRA, and then you have the prison service, electoral commission, parliament in that order. What's concerning is that when people now suspect acts of corruption, the institutions that they are supposed to go and report to are the ones that they perceive to be corrupt. I mean, that's a dangerous situation, is it not?
What was it like in 2024 or 2025?
We started measuring this in October last year, so we don't have comparative within our data, but we have
October now.
If you go back to I think December, that was the last time we took it, there has been an improvement in the police score, even though they're still top. The score has reduced. So has immigration. It's now 5.69. It was much higher before. So it's coming down.
And the judiciary is my biggest interest.
5.41.
What was it before?
I think they've also
it's actually the same, because I saw in December they were so 4th highest perceived.
No, that's fine. But if the score itself is improving,
they are all improving. The scores that they kind of deteriorated like it was a presidency.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting. No, Amanda, just a quick one on this regarding what I just pointed out, that if the citizens perceive the same institutions that they are supposed to report corruption to as the most corrupt, then it's a ticking time bomb that we are sitting on, is it not? Quickly.
It is a ticking time bomb, and I think some earlier figures also showed that the approval rating for anti-corruption is 2.1%.
Yes.
And that to me is incredibly low, particularly for a party who has gone on about oral and has gone the biggest marketing campaign in the history of this country about anti-corruption and oral, etc. And I think looking at it introspectively for the party, it would also be interesting for them to perhaps analyze, is this focus that they have so much on the other in terms of, getting Ken Ofori-Atta back and other people are corrupt, whereas the polls are showing what society is suspecting, that they are not looking inside their own house more, perhaps. And although my learned friend says that, you never hear about scandal in this government, as you rightly said, institutions we are supposed to report to are being perceived as corrupt. And that is perhaps because the cases drag on too long. We've got weak institutions. We've got public sector bribery concerns. We've got low transparency in contracts. And we've got a lack of visible punishment. So although Goldboard is trying to do things, etc., people are not going after the kingpins enough, and we are not hearing enough about the scandals because it is almost as if the whole system is designed to cover them as opposed to go after them, and then you want to talk about corruption for other people. And I just want to finish on this point because Sierra Leone, for instance, in the last week had a very interesting case where the president's sister's husband was accused of duping several foreign investors with gold, etc. Sierra Leone shut that down within 6 days. And they did that because, as of today, there is a wanted poster for that man. His own sister, he allowed to be taken in terms of arrested, questioned. The husband is able right now. And it is this perception that you used my name as president, you used the office in order to do what you did. And he didn't say a word. He distanced himself from it. He allowed it to become public knowledge. He allowed the institutions to work by issuing that wanted poster, etc. And I'll tell you something for free. That is not something you'll get in Ghana in today's government. And so this perception of a 2.1% rate fight against corruption, it means the people are feeling it because the professionals, in terms of lawyers, etc., are actually seeing from a professional view what is going on, and that is why the perception rate is so low.
I see. Quickly, just to react to that. Even the mere fact that the issue of oral, a committee, even just the allegation for people to get themselves involved, that your name will be mentioned, that there's an allegation, that has stopped people. People now feel that one day there might be an allegation against me. That's not to say that you are corrupt. But that allegation, the fear that my name will be mentioned, my name will be tarnished, there will be a blot, that has caused people to think that, look, I don't want to do anything and get involved. You guys
are doing well because you do allegations.
Not allegations. But you see, you're a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, so exactly I will speak as a lawyer.
Exactly my point.
Until I'm proving.
Everybody here is a lawyer, apart from maybe Senor, who is a pocket lawyer.
I'm a very senior pocket lawyer. Yes, he's pocket lightly.
No, I just wanted to clarify.
No. That is the reason why. Then they should have been committed to prison or anything. After the committee has made its point.
I'm listening to him.
But it's been given to the Attorney General to look into, to investigate. So if facts are gathered and your name has been brought up, you have not been punished. So don't say that when I, as a lawyer, am thinking that it's allegations that have been made.
The smearing of people's names is too much.
Yes,
the smearing of people's names is far too much.
No, but if you haven't done anything, nobody will make an allegation against you.
I just want
if you haven't done anything, there's no suspicion.
The 2.1 that you reference, which statistics exactly are you talking about?
When your earlier ratings, I mean your earlier thing, I think you mentioned 2.1 approval.
Which one?
Fight against corruption. It was what you had up before. The top one was on employment.
Okay,
the rating one, and then the president's approval.
IEA one.
Yes, and then I saw 2.1% for the fight against corruption.
Hold on, that's this one.
Yes.
Reasons given.
I was paying attention.
Reasons given for approval.
Yes.
Thank you very much for.
So it's not that you have. That's interpreted a little differently.
Just a quick reaction
quickly
to my brother. Look, allegations are not enough. And that is what has been happening under this government. They are very good at allegations and accusations without anything coming out of it. And we all know the verdict on oral as it is at the moment.
Very strong. Extremely strong.
Akunta was
hold on.
I believe
I know that
I don't intend to prolong
this. You're not shouting. My brother, hold on. Let me make my point. When somebody interrupts me, no, it's not fair. Because wait. When my brother was speaking, you gave him some leeway.
You're not listening.
I'm not even making my point. You're telling me I should hurry up.
Hold on. I'm asking people to stop so you speak.
Well, but you told me I should hurry up. So I'm saying that, but don't hurry me. Let me react. Please. In this case, if you look at even the dynamics, I'm already in the minority. Let me talk.
I want to hear you.
You have to give me more time to talk.
Hold on.
So let me finish. Let me make my point.
You mean the minority is even in the minority?
Minority. So the issue is very simple. Oral itself, what did the Attorney General say about it? He said as for him, he can't do much because what they gave him, he's not able to use it. So yes, you know. So please, the fact of the matter is that as for oral and NDC government, of which my brother is part of, that you are not part of, let me talk about NDC. Don't be always in a hurry to defend NDC.
No, I'm not.
I'm saying NDC, they are good at allegations and accusations. And this is what we are seeing. Every time they think that now even allegations are stopping corruption. Not good enough.
Okay. Because you are
oral preparatory. It's okay. You see, I think the extreme views, they will be too much. You see, our society, we've shown that we are very savvy, very, very savvy. The last election results shows you that we are moving beyond ethnocentrism, etc. Right? So take it easy. You don't need to always use hyperboles, because when you go too extreme, like you said, Attorney General said he couldn't use the oral material.
But what
he can't do much.
Please, what did he say?
No, you see,
I beg you. You know what? This one, let's discuss.
Yes.
What did he say?
Oh, what he said was that look, oral, those are allegations, right? So he's now going to do investigations, right? So which is positive? You see the choice of words. I said these are allegations. Okay. Remember, oral, we're not doing investigations. Who is appointed? Am I police service? Yoko?
I haven't mentioned your name. Don't take the thing personal.
I'm not taking. I'm just explaining. So oral was just collection of complaints. So the Attorney General said, "Oh, that's not investigations that he can go straight to court."
But then what's different from what I said?
No, but
what he said that the complaints cannot be used for prosecutions. So I'm just saying that by the same way, my brother is the one who went to mention oral and allegation. That's why I'm referring him. That allegations and accusations are not what we are going to use to fight corruption.
So now let me land.
Okay.
So now the landing is this.
You have finished your matter.
Yes. It's who in the first place said that once the oral committee is done, then that will be taken to court straight. No, JM said it. That no. Gather the complaints, because you see, in politics, one of the greatest things, not just politics, in life, people need hope. If you don't
hope with allegations.
Oh, yes.
But that's what I want to understand.
So, yes, hope that brings
allegations. So I'm talking to allegations.
No, but you said the oral thing is fine.
I want to hear you.
Out of the allegation, there's nothing before court. So wait.
How can allegations
wait when the results come. Then you say it is allegations.
Victor Kojogo.
When the results start trickling.
But gentlemen,
this matter is here.
One person is speaking.
Where is this side to?
Mr. Michael, wait.
Here's my brother.
Yeah.
I don't want the interruptions to go out of here. Let's maintain some decorum.
After we take it. All right.
We take it.
Okay, good. So the mandate of oral itself was that gather the allegations, right? Put them, organize them, and then they will be handed over to the Attorney General for investigations and prosecutions. So when you come and the criticism is that Attorney General said he can't do much with it, then you're turning the whole mandate upside down. It was never that oral report will be taken straight into court. No, it was to gather. Because you see, nature abhors a vacuum. The president said his phone was being inundated with complaints.
Thank you.
And quickly he got this master stroke that why don't I set up a committee so that people begin to gather, they will get a head start.
On the matter of corruption, there's a lot to talk about going forward. So thank you. Quick one.
So I think we should be fair to the oral promise. It's a policy promise, a campaign promise, but it's a policy action. It is not a committee. So that the role of the committee may have been part of one of the policy interventions to help deliver that policy promise. So I don't think it's fair for us to really put undue pressure on Martin Kpebu and his committee. I mean, as I say, you and the committee. I mean, that's not it. Have we delivered on oral? Adaudu, I hear you loud. You said scandal upon scandal, but that alone in itself is a problem. There were a lot of scandals being advocated, being highlighted during the MPP era. We may not have much coming now, true. But those scandals, how have you translated it into real, legitimate cases and prosecutions, convictions to turn people around from that kind of conduct, if they were real? Or were they just allegations? The concerns about oral and the disappointments of Ghanaians are legitimate. Yes. All right, it's not to say the Attorney General is not doing well. I know Dominic. Dominic is a hard-working guy. But the whole system must support a structure for it to be delivered, including the conversation around Ken Ofori-Atta as well, which we'll come to.
Right
understand?
Now.
So, and you know, we have to not discuss only oral in the past. We must see government discussing and acting oral, even in its present and its going forward matters. And you should be more active about that, so you send the right signal. So, Amanda, thank you for the Sierra Leone example. Thank you. Look at galamsey, the issues that were raised around some of the NDC people, Yamino and co. It may not be true, but go through the investigation properly, and let us realize that you are not doing clearinghouse as we were calling Nanado. But these things are hanging. We talk about it 1, 2, 3 in Ghana, and the matter die. Corruption, unfortunately for Ghanaians, it's relevant when the economy is not doing well. Ghanaians worry when they are hungry and they feel that you are chopping their money. But when Ghanaians don't feel too hungry and they are chopping their money, they are not thinking about it. You understand? 19% of the public in 2024 and going into the 2024 election, we had corruption as a very major matter. But the rest of it, the most of it was the economy, because people are hungry. Today we are seeing that in this evaluation of people, the corruption matter is at 2.1%, as in its relevance in its or influence on the president's performance. That's a little correction of what you said. Yeah, but you see, it's a matter. The sustainability for productivity is also driven by our ability to cut out leakages through corruption. Building an accountable governance environment where people become responsible both at the level of public office and also at the level of the citizenry. When impunity takes center stage, that big 73%, they will all collapse. Right. But somehow, because we are all seeing stability, and then we are seeing some promise, not actual product, a promise of productivity, we are seeming to forget about the materiality of corruption. But please, NDC should not fool themselves. This oral matter will be a major conversation in that 2028 election. Yeah. What would you have done? You understand? What would you have achieved? Scandal, noise, or real convictions? That would be the question.
And the first judgment is due on the 3rd of July, right?
We wait for that.
But you know that one, you and I started that work with Akunta mining. Yes. And I commend Ayini for his work on that. But the real one we would have wanted to see is the government itself identifying its own new kingpins, not the ones we had brought before they came.
Right.
You understand? So, Mr. President, Marakuku, kingpins are there.
Thank you. That's really understand. But there's a two-part conversation we're having with Musa Dankwa. The first is what we have done today. Next week, on the other issue, right? So I'll keep it for next week.
Tell us in advance.
No, for next week. Mr. Dankwa, thank you for coming. He's cooking something.
You are rigging the conversation.
He's cooking something that
this is gerrymandering.
Cooking bar.
Yeah, you are cooking.
I didn't know you were
Global Info Analytics. Mr. Dankwa, thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, but let me. A number of your messages, I would read them. In fact, I started receiving some messages from Sami Dako ahead of the next conversation, which is on Ken Ofori-Atta and matters arising. Sami Dako, thank you. I acknowledge that message. If we have to get through to you as well, we will do. This one here says that Kakre Samoa says, my Kokwe just peddled a statistical falsehood. I think it's on the matter of the 44% that you spoke about. But a number of people, he has withdrawn. He's withdrawn
and
that.
Explained.
And then also, I had the same one from Kojo Tumbuafo, the Financial Intelligence Center boss as well, who sent.
Kojo is alive.
Then there's Franklin Kujo.
Opesika.
Franklin Kujo is founder president of Imani Africa. He says, why is my brother Michael Okoye, my Gabo Okoye, still trotting out the same defeated argument that COVID-19 was the main reason the economy tanked and the MPP, the economy was already on life support well before the pandemic exposed its deep-seated vulnerabilities, and says, and fantastically corrupt schemes and rudderless spending to the mix, and you turn Ghana, says, in junk-rated economy. Be grateful that there's a lot that's happening to, it says, correct that. After all, even Nana Addo was hopeful that the next government, any government other than his, would save the economy. He was right. Franklin Kujo, thank you very much for your message this morning. Zinagwa, your discharge. Appreciate you. Now, this week, we had this matter taking center stage in Parliament as well, when we got information from Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers to the effect that he has been granted permanent status by the United States. And this is it. Ken Ofori-Atta's green card 1485 petition has been granted by U.S. Immigration Court. This is the details of the letter that his lawyers put out. The court had evidence relating to actions taken by Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor, including the OSP's earlier decision to declare Ken Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice at a time when he was reportedly undergoing medical treatment in the United States, and while his lawyers remain in communication with investigators in Ghana. The court finds the criminal charges in Ghana not credible. However, the court's ruling was made within the context of a United States immigration proceedings. The court's decision was focused on whether Ken Ofori-Atta met the legal requirements for adjustment of status. This part of his lawyer's statement that the courts find the criminal charges in Ghana not credible is what has been a matter of contention as well. The OSP has contested this part, saying that the immigration court does not have jurisdiction to declare whether or not the criminal charges against Ken Ofori-Atta was credible, because that was not the matter in issue before the immigration court. But there's another issue as well that is playing out as to how this development impacts on the case that the OSP and by extension the Attorney General government is bringing against Ken Ofori-Atta, those charges, 28 of them, and then also all the other issues regarding his involvement in the National Cathedral and others that the Attorney General is investigating. How does that impact on, or this particular development of he being granted permanent status, impact on what we are seeking to do, to bring him to come and answer questions in this country? Does he have to be here physically? If so, his lawyers say he has not been served officially, even though he's been charged. They say they have not been served. if he has not been served, can he be tried in absentia? And those are issues that we'll talk about. But I'll give it to Lawyer Martin Kpebu on this one. It's almost a year ago, he gave us this indication. In fact, it was on this show that Martin Kpebu said his sources had indicated to him that Ken Ofori-Atta was applying to stay or seek permanent. He had actually applied for permanent status in the United States. There were persons who had doubts, as a matter of fact. Questions were asked, even including me. Regarding that particular one. Look, this has been confirmed. This is the evidence of the information as we have. So I give it to you on this one.
Oh, sure, it happens. Citizens give information. That's how we grow our democracy. Remember Condoleezza Rice's book, the former Secretary of State of the U.S., the Honor Pledge, where she said that even in the U.S., it's a lot of leakages. People leak information, etc. And that's what grows a society. Because obviously, people who are involved in, short-circuiting the law, trying to get this advantage of the system, etc., don't want their moves being revealed. So it takes leakers, and we always celebrate leakers because leakers help to grow our society. Yeah, the wrongdoing. Famously, the Watergate scandal at that time. It was a deputy director of the FBI himself, Deep Throat. He was the one who gave the information to the journalists. That's the thing that brought down Nixon.
Yes.
Your whole intelligence chief, so currently like BNI, deputy director of BNI, sees that Nixon and his people are complicit, and he takes the information and gives it to a journalist. So any day we must celebrate leakers. Leakers would always help our economy. Of course, also it involves the economy, the nation grow. Is that it? Or I should go
that's what brought the terminology, the deep throat sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where now, before we go on into the issue, let me do this quickly. If you were watching us for the first time, as always, Key Point is proudly brought to you by GASM, the nation builder, and then also Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And this July, from now until the end, from next month until the from now, I beg your pardon, until the end of October 2026, Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans at very slim, and the slim is emphatic, very slim rates to salaried workers. We understand you have urgent needs to sort out. That's why we give you the quick turnaround time. When it is school fees, time to pay, prospectus, car maintenance, or that much deserved family vacation, Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. And the emphasis is on fast. Visit the nearest branch or chat Fafa today at www.boaghana.com to sign up. You may also WhatsApp them on 0244 338 226 0244 338 226 for inquiries about Bank of Africa's quick fix loan and also the interventions they have for you. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Also, GASM is the nation builder, and for decades they have brought you all the various types of cement that you need to build your home, and they continue to evolve to meet the needs of the construction and building community. GASM is the nation builder. Quickly, let me start off. I'll start off with you, Senor, on this one. This development that has been confirmed now, as I did indicate, about Ken Ofori-Atta's permanent status in the United States amidst everything that is happening. Well, this, according to his lawyers, as to whether this impacts on what is happening regarding the quest to get him to answer for the charges against him, they say that the courts find the criminal charges in Ghana not credible.
It's quite interesting. The lawyers should educate me, but I found it very scandalous that a foreign court will be pontificating over our judicial processes that are actually just in process. If we also start doing that about them, would that be okay? I don't know. You know, there's a matter of sovereignty and also a matter of accountability. The discussion around Ken Ofori-Atta is not a matter of a conversation about just a private citizen. It's about the Constitution and the constitutional duty of accountability. Our Constitution is very clear. It actually sets us all, the Republic, which covers both public officers and the citizenry, on the clear path of probity and accountability. Read the preamble of our Constitution. It's the foremost thing there. And also on rule of law. These words that are used in our Constitution are not decorative. They are not just for the fun of it. They are binding obligations on all who hold public office. So when you administer practically the most consequential economic crisis in a generation, as the longest serving, finance minister, all right, in the Fourth Republic, I mean, we don't reduce this and think that your decisions that shaped the crisis become a private engagement. These are official decisions using and exercising the power of the state and the power granted by the people at any point in time. It subjects you to that principle of accountability. And Article 35(8) is very clear that the state must take steps to eradicate corrupt practices and the abuse of power. That duty does not end when someone leaves office or secures a permanent stay in a different jurisdiction or even changes his citizenship. You play the role. For me, it's very disappointing that Ken Ofori-Atta, with all the power and all the money he has spent in the US over this case, he didn't find reason to actually spend that on local council to walk through accountability. So you set the right principle of accountability and responsibility as a genuine public officer, a faith believing, a Bible quoting, a white wearing. Talibon will hear white.
Yeah, somebody said, why is the wearing white?
Yeah, let me use the opportunity to announce
white wearing
80th birthday of my lovely Auntie Rose. She comes after my father. So I'm going there after here.
That's why
Yeah.
So viewers say
Auntie Rose, may God bless you. Because may He give you long. But let me bless my auntie. You're going to bring this matter. You will allow me to bless my auntie, Martin. Oh, may God bless you, give you long life, and may He continue to give you even more wisdom. Amen.
Everybody say amen.
Amen.
It's okay.
On the back of that, we must also celebrate Kali Mesa, Ijapa Mesa's wife, on her birthday as well. You know, unfortunately, Ijapa is not here. Yes. Bobo. So, Mrs. Bobo.
No, interestingly,
happy birthday wherever you are.
He's watching.
Okay.
He says yes.
Yeah. Don't worry. Your lover boy husband asked me to say it for you. So
when he says anything, to read it for us.
It's very critical.
Yeah. Okay.
Bobo, look. So frankly, this conduct of Ofori-Atta is not tenable. When a finance minister like this quietly goes to obtain a U.S. residency, while there are key inquiries that remain unresolved, it naturally raises proper public concern. Not because travel is illegal, but largely because accountability is constitutional. And when you hold public office, you cannot be seeking to exit that like you are exiting some private contract. Ghanaians definitely deserve transparency. They deserve closure. They deserve accountability. They deserve respect for the constitutional promise of accountability and probity. You understand? This is just straight to the point. When you hold office, you should subject yourself willfully to accountability. You know, yourself. So you can purge yourself of that accusation of you exercising that office judiciously and for the good of the people. It is not to say Ken Ofori-Atta is guilty of anything. Some of the arguments, I really wonder how you even go to tie Ken Ofori-Atta on it. But when you've administered the most constitutional, economic, the most significant and consequential economic crisis in this country, and you choose to run away, when you know that you're supposed to be a subject of inquiry, it is dishonorable, it is not Christian, it is not worthy of the quotes he quotes, it's not worthy of the white he wears. And I think that he will do himself and his whole family tree good by subjecting himself and purging himself of all the accusations that exist around his governance and his time in office. He may be exiting this nicely as a private person looking for legal tactics to try and run away from it. But this is not public service in any shape or form. And characters like this should never near public office ever again. You run away. What did we not do to Chachu Chikata?
Exactly.
Which of the NDC
arrested in church?
Exactly. Nobody condoned what Sedina was doing. Nobody did. Sedina is a good friend of mine. Nobody did. Adawudu didn't. Nobody sitting here did. Face your law. And you have all the resources. It's not like you don't have money. And you have a good lawyer. Justice is one of the finest legal brains in this country. Mika Premu. Fantastic guy. Why are you running from? Running away from your own shadows?
There's persecution already.
Yes. Persecution from where?
And the statement that have been made clearly indicates what he will go through if he comes back.
Persecution from where? Obviously, you are going to go through a process of accountability. It is not nice. It is not nice. Don't think that you're going to go through a process of accountability in a nice way. It doesn't happen like that. You didn't do that to the NDC guys. You didn't do that to what's his name? Ayitevi or whatever. NCA. You didn't do that to him. Tetevi. You didn't do that to him. You didn't do that to Opuni. You understand? Opuni sat here. He always knew that he was going to be a subject of public inquiry. The noise around Opuni was very loud. All right? We didn't even hear that noise from Tetevi. Look at what they did to Tetevi. He's in jail. You understand? Others have also gone. And they've been able to survive that and show that their hands are legitimately clean. Lord, didn't you do to Agongo? Please, don't do that. Subject when you decide to come on to chop public office and public influence, which you use to also aggrandize either your own wealth or aggrandize your influence within the general governance and public space. Subject yourself to accountability. Don't run away. When you do that, you betray the trust of the people. You betray the constitution. You defeat the meaning and essence of public office. And you can't honestly claim you're a Christian.
Well, Michael Kwei Jr., no, hold on. Yes. So why would you support the call for Ken Ofori-Atta to come and answer for the charges against him?
I don't know about the legality of that call because I don't think that is what is necessarily going to solve the problem. And I think some people are dwelling on the wrong thing. First of all, I want to make this clear that I am not here to defend Ken Ofori-Atta. I don't know what the situation is with Ken Ofori-Atta, his personal situation in the States. I don't know also the strategy of the AG that he would only do his case if Ken Ofori-Atta is here. That is something which is out of my sphere. But my understanding of anything to do with law, English legal jurisprudence, or any other area of human rights are some of the following things which I want us to discuss. First of all, suspicion is not a crime.
100%.
Oh, don't worry. Somehow even ask for 150%.
Yeah,
but suspicion is not a crime. So, the fact that Ken Ofori-Atta is being suspected of a few things, I personally think the services should proceed, and once those are exhausted, then the case should be presented and it should be tried in absentia. Why? Because the man is saying that his medical condition does not allow him to come to Ghana. You can't dispute that. We can't fight over that. And we can't pretend that that in itself is not an issue that he and his lawyers have raised. So let us put that aside. So what we can simply do is we can try him in absentia. After all, we don't need Ken Ofori-Atta to be a witness in his own damning case.
He can even be here and decide not to say a thing.
Yes. And he, even if he's here, he can decide not to speak. Say a thing. Because his job is not to aid the prosecution to prosecute him. His job is to defend himself. And if in his defense, his lawyers advise that he should even exercise any amendment and keep quiet, he has the right to do so. So I think that in order to prove that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has done something untoward, we don't need him in Ghana. So I think that the noise about him having to be in Ghana before his matter can be determined should quieten down.
Well, you indicated you don't even know the strategy.
It's a breach.
Hold on, please.
Trust.
Let me flow like how you were flowing, and Alfred was not interrupting you.
Let him speak.
So let me flow.
When I was doing for
Oh, I know. No, that's different. Today, I've hot to, but I'll face everybody. It's not a problem.
And it's clear.
But host, let me also flow. Allow me to flow, because I know you have interjections, but don't interject. Let me flow like him.
Hold on.
So now my issue is that Ken Ofori-Atta, if you have a case against him, do the do.
Agreed.
Do the do.
Agreed.
A lawyer will not talk plenty. This government, you see, the lawyers like to talk in press conferences. They like to bang their hand down. And today, Ken Ofori-Atta doesn't come. He's wearing white, and he's wearing blue, and he's wearing green. What has that got to do with anything? Are we saying all green wearing NDC people, therefore they behave like this? Don't do that.
All blue are like
yes, well, blue there, blue blood. FPP. But let's put that aside. Look, wherever he wears, whatever church he goes to, whatever it is, we all know that the law provides for various stages. In the case of Madam Sedina, right? She wasn't coming. Did anybody start saying that, if somebody say MPP should bring Ken Ofori-Atta? I mean, can you imagine? Nobody said NDC should bring Sedina. Sedina should bring herself. She didn't come. No. What did the courts do? They tried her in absentia and she became a convict. And they applied for the extradition of a convict, not a suspect. You see the difference? So in this case, where she is convicted, then they have gone ahead. So please, no talking. As I said, do the do. Take Ofori-Atta to court, convict him with the evidence you have. I'm sure all Ghanaians will now say that Wokra Wasemna is no more suspicion. Is a convicted person. And even his own wife will tell him that, you didn't do it well. But until then, let us stop all of this situation. But you see, this case has taken an international dimension. And if it has taken an international dimension, we have to behave in an internationally approved standard to be able to get certain benefits from international decision makers.
What do you mean?
Very much. Now, this situation of abuse, perception-wise, because we know corruption is perception, human rights, perception, where we had people like Japa go to his house, no warrant, armed. Armed.
No. In fact, it actually became a matter of contention. And
it was national security. They had warrant. National security.
Which warrant? With the masks and all that. They went
so if the man is implementing it, doesn't mean that national security had a warrant.
I remember.
Please.
They went there at the deep of the night, went to knock the door, frightened the whole house, and came in there to come and ransack the house. I don't remember any warrant. If there was a warrant even, I think, decently, warrant you come at 9 in the morning and execute it.
We went to come at midnight. In church. That one was okay.
Anyway, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly. And when you say you want to reset, I don't like people referring me to things which may not have been palatable in the past. So a reset doesn't involve that kind of behavior. But assuming, without admitting that he had a warrant, I think that the manner that was carried out is not right. And when these kind of things are reported, they went in there as if they were hunting for a rat, some wild lion or tiger that could not be tamed, with all the guns and what they went with. I don't see how that is acceptable with international standards. And you must know that such practice is not akin to good governance. And when you make moves that are contrary to such things, then you think that any judge in any civilized Western world will see the behavior of such a regime and they'll release him to you. Look, let me tell you something, Adawood. Let me give you some advice. If we are not careful as a country, our own behavior will prevent Ken Ofori-Atta even being brought into Ghana. Because the way that we are handling even human rights issues at the moment, we must learn that our own actions in itself will be prejudicial. And if we look at the way that this government is behaving, precedents, not the best. Look at the way we even treat things like bail. Look at the way we are harassing citizens with no reason. And one of them which made me disgusted, look at such an honorable senior lawyer like Martin Pigbu. Look at the way he was harassed. and embarrassed just because people want to show power. All of these things, the international courts are jotting them down. The international embassies here, they jot it down.
Yeah.
When they ask them for advice, they ask them, Ken Ofori-Atta, if he comes to Ghana, is he going to be safe? He said, never. Look at the way they are behaving. They lock this. Today, Chief Justice out of the window. Tomorrow, this person is being threatened. Tomorrow, this is behaving like that. Yeah. Tomorrow, the police are all of these things are being documented. And I'm saying that President John Mahama, please rope your people in, because if you don't rope them in, this is what will happen. Look, one of the biggest things this government is capable of doing, and they're very good at doing, is that whenever anybody does anything wrong, then they say, well, as for John Mahama, it's not like that. But as we sit here, there is an international law term which is called regime approval. Regime approval in itself says that where things are happening in the system, but the regime does not lock it down, does not punish the people who are the perpetrators, those who harassed people like Martin Kwebu and the rest, what consequences have they paid? What has happened to them? People who are going to people's houses, arresting them in the middle of the night. Their wives don't know where they are the next day. Their lawyers don't know where they are the next day. In Ghana here today at the moment, this is happening. So when this is seen by the international community, we are tying our own hands behind our back and putting ourselves in a swimming pool. This has nothing to do with wearing white or anything to do with what you were professing in church the week before. Because as we all said, admittedly, the man is innocent until proven guilty.
100%.
Ken Ofori-Atta is not a guilty felon.
It's not.
He's just being accused of certain processes and certain things. Look, we all saw what opinions there were about even things like, for example, the cathedral and so on and so forth. And we have seen what has come out in terms of the results, that there was no corruption. So if these things are being looked at, let's look at it. Some of them can even be done in absentia. We don't need to try to harangue Ken Ofori-Atta to bring him here to shout about this and to make sure that this is the kind of thing that is going. But I want to extend something. You know this recent chat about tribunals?
Yes.
Where we want to look at using tribunals to deal with this galamsey matter. As for me, I want to advise, and I know that there are at least more than one capable lawyer here who can have some NDC ears to talk into. We beg them. 1992 Constitution, the background is when D.F. Annan was doing it, he actually wanted to remove tribunals. And we know how President Rawlings was upset about that. There was a gentleman's agreement, let's leave it there, but we will not use it. Rawlings never touched it. And that is why, mainly with the Chatuchika case, there was the phrase, again with jurisprudence, tried in the ordinary courts of the land. And that is why people don't want to hear the word tribunals again, because we know the kind of thing that this has led to. Whether it is Chatu or it is in future Ken Ofori-Atta or anybody who may be tried, whether in galamsey or any kind of way, please, we beg you, let us do our work in the ordinary courts of the land. Let us understand that people are innocent until proven guilty. And you can try the man in absentia so that we all know whether there's a case or not.
On the element,
the call that he must come now, he must come now. Please, that's not our decision to make. We can't decide when Ken Ofori-Atta should come to Ghana. If we have anything against him, we should put our case forward and try him, put our evidence forward, and either convict him or, as the courts would rightly do, if he is innocent, free the man.
But you see, there's been a consistent position that his lawyers have taken, that even though he has been charged, the 28 charges the OSP has leveled against him, they have not been officially notified. And there has to be, because you're talking about a trial as absentia, there has to be that official notification because before the trial and absentia can take place, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So for as long as he has not been officially notified, that trial and absentia cannot proceed.
So the judge is giving the order and they've sent it to the US.
What I'm saying
but the US
that,
people are,
so
the Justice Department is here to handle
We are in this country. We all know about service. And the client is saying that I have not received anything. The lawyers are here. I can show you their office. You want us to, we can walk there from here. What are we talking about? So go and serve them. Go and give them the notice. All that we have to do, go and do it. I mean, Capremo is just here. Martin, me and you can go and serve them even this afternoon.
No, but he's not a lawyer on file.
They want it to go to Ofori-Atta himself first.
No, wow! But if Ofori-Atta is not available, his lawyers have come in court and told us that they are the lawyers acting for him. So let us, at least even by public pronouncement and all of, so go and serve the lawyers.
No, but they haven't entered appearance. You see what I mean?
This is a criminal matter. It's a criminal matter.
I'm saying I'm saying that, and we all know about service. If you can't find a man, there are the rules.
Yes, the mutual legal assistance.
So if you have not finished those rules, why are you talking about the man is not coming?
We have to talk.
No, you have to finish. Wait, you know one thing about service. We all know that if the processes start, you try to serve a fugitive and you can't get him. You have to put it in all the various processes. Even put it in newspapers, put it on his last residence abode. We don't know his house. The house that Jakwa went to raid, has he gone to put any notice there? Or you don't know his house, you know the house to go and raid it, right? With masked men, some with no name tags and all of it in the deep of the night. But in the light of the day, you can't go to that same house to go and give them. No, but
in certain circumstances.
Well, in certain circumstances is what we're talking about.
It says in this one it's not.
No. I'm saying that there are many, many ways of killing a cat. And there are many, many ways of bringing this to his notice and attention. Let's not, so, okay, if we can't find him, right? We can't find him. Then why are we talking about the fact that he's guilty? You can't find the man, then what are we talking about?
You're saying that, no,
nobody is saying
the man is guilty.
Right?
They say he should.
But he says he should come back. Otherwise,
he should
stewardship. The law provides for various circumstances, right? The first circumstance that the man has appeared. But where the man doesn't appear, what does the law provide? So we should find ways of handling appearance or non-appearance.
It is those questions that obviously we'll have to get answers to.
But these are not things that you need any questions. But just apply the procedure.
But I want to find.
And I'm saying that, let me just land on this. The Attorney General knows what to do. He knows what to do when the man hasn't appeared. So he should go ahead and do it. And when those things have been reasonably followed, the court itself, for example, when you bring a motion before the court, will then say that, well, all reasonable steps have been taken to serve this person, and so this is the next step that should happen. That's all we are saying. But we should not make excuses that we've not been able to do this, but he should come. If you've not been able to do that, but he should come. That is not the anomaly to cure such a problem.
Before I go, once we are talking about Ken Ofori-Atta, we definitely have to quote from Bible. Luke chapter 12, verse 48. To whom much is given, much will be required.
Yes.
Public office is stewardship.
To whom much is given as Attorney General, much is required.
Let's not make this let me finish. Let me finish.
But I was on the floor. So if you made your Bible
quotation. Another one. Public office is stewardship. All right? So to whom much is given, much is required. Accountability is not optional. It is constitutional and is demanded. It's as simple as that. You can play.
And accountability doesn't mean you must be present. No, it is still a system. We must make our systems work.
I don't disagree with you. What I want to know from the lawyers is whether it is possible to start under the circumstances.
To start what?
I think Article 19.3 says he has to be, the Constitution says he has to properly be served and notified.
Yes, in person. Yes. So you can't go to his house and put it on his...
But it's part of the reasonable steps.
No, listen,
they said it's not possible.
You see, because it's not in Ghana, if you were, then you would want to consider that option. But it's clear to you that...
But when it's not in Ghana, what are the options?
There's a way to proceed.
What are the options that is not in Ghana?
There's a way to proceed. We should stop talking and start working.
Yes, we are working.
I want to understand. What are the options?
Hold on. We are working. There is tradition. You see, extradition... It's a government to government.
Yes. Now, before we come to the extradition, he's now talking about trial in absentia. So let's answer that one.
Yes.
The trial in absentia, the key thing to start it is giving him the charge sheet so that he will know that they are charges.
In person.
Yes. So now when the judge has made the order, you have to go through. I understand. The last I heard them, the OSP explain, they said that they have actually sent it. So it's now left with the Americans, the Justice Department people, and the Secretary of State to now go and serve him. So it's the service that they haven't done. But as for the order having been made by a court here that it should be served, and the fact that they've handed over has been done. But you know,
so when they are caught, okay, so it means that there's a mechanism.
Yes, that's in place.
And the mechanism has started. And as we sit here, we know of all the reasonable steps to take to get to Ken Ofori-Atta.
Yes.
We know letters have come on Ken Ofori-Atta's behalf to the AG, have they not?
Yes.
And when they came, which lawyer brought it? Secondly, even the Mayo Clinic, we have the address. We have his address in America. It was on the internet. Manessa brought his address. on the internet. It was there.
I want us to do.
That is my point. Look, this thing is not always a fight. My point is simple. We have all the reasonable areas. We don't need any lawyer to come and write that I'm representing Ken Ofori-Atta, when the lawyers have already written to AG to explain Ken Ofori-Atta's position. Today we have seen Minka Premu talking about Ken Ofori-Atta.
It's a solid guy.
Yes. So what we just need to do is let's serve it to them. We know that the reasonable mouthpieces are here, the reasonable addresses. Then when we follow those procedures, we can start with the trial in absentia. In the meantime, look, I don't remember this where, for example, when Atufosin and others were being prosecuted in one way or the other, we weren't seeing it in the media with all this kind of loud noise.
Well, they were in Ghana.
They were in Ghana. No.
It was loud.
No,
it couldn't even Japan.
I didn't hear it. I just saw it being reported as to what happens in the court proceedings.
Ambassador.
Yes, Ambassador Wananibi. So all I'm saying is that, look, this is too much noise. Today is even being...
was so much noise.
No. Court case, yes.
Look,
we just want this to happen. Simple. The man innocent until proven guilty.
Agreed.
We want to be able to serve the man and let him have the charges. He's not in Ghana. Let us take the steps to give it to him internationally or reasonably locally. Then we can go the next step of the trial in absentia.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right. So thank you. And Senor Osi will take leave of us. Zosi, thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure and quite enlightening that there's a pathway. And I like your position as a party. It's not that you are defending something. You are just saying that we should proceed and start implementing what's available to us. But outside legality is the issue of governance and public accountability. So those things are elevated with value systems, and these value systems are defined now in our constitution.
That one is
we shouldn't make everything.
That one is optional.
I respect that. It's in the constitution.
It's not there.
It's in the preamble is there. The preamble clearly
where in the constitution does it say he has to be here?
No, I'm not talking about he has to be here. I'm talking about public office and their willingness to subject themselves to accountability and probity. I'm just reminding us that call is above just legalese.
Senor,
thank you
very much.
Before you go, no, just one slide.
Thank you very much.
We were in this country when President Mohamed was being accused of Airbus. Okay, now let me just land.
You made
when he was being accused, you know that prosecutors from Ghana here went abroad to go and interview and get his side of the story and make the case. Yes, I'm just saying, let's be fair.
Thank you.
We can also, and I'm happy that Martin has admitted that. We can go abroad, speak to Ken Ofori-Atta and get all the facts.
He was not a public officer.
We don't need him to be in Ghana to get his side of the story.
A public officer.
You just want to humiliate the man. That's what you want to humiliate. The man is abroad. Let him get the information.
There were questions that were asked.
That's all.
And so you can take your leave now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, as to how this particular process can proceed without Ken Ofori-Atta being in Ghana, I think that's where the matter is now. The proposal of a trial in absentia can only take place only after Ken Ofori-Atta has been served.
That's correct.
Now, he is not in the jurisdiction. And this is a criminal matter, so he would have to be served personally.
Yes.
What other processes can be employed to get him to be served personally, even if he doesn't come to Ghana physically? The option of his lawyers, as in Minka Premu, being served because they represent him legally here, is that feasible?
No, it's not so far until our Supreme Court decides otherwise. So that's how come we decided. When I say we, that's the prosecution as a country, because in this case we all want to Ofori-Atta back, so we are saying we, that's the whole state. That's how come it's been decided that the charges be sent to him in the US. And the judge has accordingly made the order. So my understanding from the OSP, people answering from the OSP, is that the orders were made and the charge sheet, the orders extra have been dispatched to the US. So that it's now left with the US authorities to now serve Ofori-Atta. So that's where the ball is in their court. They have to serve Ofori-Atta. You see that sometimes their processes are slower than ours. Yes, you see, we Ghana extradition, we can finish within 3-4 months. But I see in the US, they take years. They are never finishing. So somewhere, somehow, sometimes their processes are slower, much slower than ours, right? So let's wait for the US authorities to serve him. Then, of course, the order would have the number of days for him to, show an interest in coming down or not. Because once he receives it, after a certain number of days, it's not coming down, then the trial will proceed. So let's wait. There's actually, even apart from our local laws, we have the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. Right. It's an international treaty that the nations have all signed up. So when you need help with some of these things, you would then apply, of course, through your foreign minister, Okujeto, present it on behalf of the nation to the other nations so that the steps will be gone into. Even in the Mutual Legal Assistance Act, yes, there is provision for the person who is abroad to do video conference. It's there. So you see the time Ofori-Atta said, he wanted to do video conference. Yes, it's in the treaty.
So we could have taken that
that's why I told you. So that brings us to the interesting part. Because of that collusion between Kissi Agyabeng and Ofori-Atta, they pretended that even this trial and absentia could not be done. What were they doing? They were buying Ofori-Atta time. Because look, January of 2025, we can check the tape. Lawyer Thaddeus Osori was the first to come out that, look, listen, let's do trial and absentia. Unfortunately for us, a lot of us, of course, that's of course, Thaddeus Osori, we all know, is much more experienced and all that. He saw it earlier. I remember even as of that time, some of us didn't understand. So we thought, it was serious sickness. So that I had sympathies for Ofori-Atta, if you check. Because my point was that, but the man wrote to you. So my point was on accountability of this state institution. That I didn't even know Kissi Agyabeng knew. So my anger was directed towards Julius Debra and Fremont Opare, because the letter shows that he wrote to outgoing chief of staff and then incoming chief of staff. So in the transition team, this is story short, Julius Debra had visibility. So these were the two people, Fremont Opare and this. That I didn't know that Kissi Agyabeng had seen. Then the matter began to change for me on two fronts. One, when it turned out that the man went to do a biopsy. Look, put on the medical doctor. Biopsy is not any complex surgery. Biopsy is not. Just taking tissue out of the body to do tests, etc. And they made it kuntai, like some complex thing. Then unfortunately with time, it turned out that he was just making a small procedure look very complex. Then he hid his return date. Even when the biopsy, and then they said after the biopsy, we can check the tail of the tape, the various dates. He said, they are going to do biopsy and possible surgery. Then OSP said, let's give him some time. It turned out soon after that the surgery will not take place. And they kept mute. Waited only a few days to, I think it was going to be May. Yes, that he was to come. Then his lawyers here wrote to the OSP to say that, he's not able to come. Now he needs further time. Meanwhile, when the surgery didn't take place, the quickest thing would have been to fly down, come and go through the procedures, get bail, and then you can apply that you want to go back to the US for medical care. That
was an option.
Yes, and that would have shown bona fides, everything. I would have supported it. But they kept quiet, so you can see that they were deceived. It's a complex game, But then the other fact subsequently came out later in the year when Kissi Agyabeng now admitted that he saw the letter that was written to outgoing chief of staff and the incoming. And then he says he ran to NIB, that's a BNI today. He didn't get help. Went to National Security, didn't get help. It turned out they are false. I'm sure I've shown you the letters. I wrote to BNI, they responded that Kissi Agyabeng never came. Apart from the letter, I also checked with previous people in charge, etc. He never went there. He was lying. He said he went to National Security. National Security wrote that they didn't see him there. It's immigration. So Ghana immigration, look, you have to respond to that letter. So far, it's Ghana immigration that has been dodging, I don't know what sympathies they have for this in Kissi Agyabeng.
What exactly were you seeking in that letter?
Yes, they should tell me, did he come there? Did he come to Ghana Immigration Service that they should arrest Ofori-Atta at the airport and they didn't respond? But so far, 2 out of the 3 institutions he's mentioned, they turned out to be false. So then, it tells you the whole plot. The whole plot, and then add the other thing. So they said, no. Try and absentia cannot be done. Sami Darko, who sent you notices. Check the tape. Sami Darko, I have private conversations with Sami Darko those days before they arrested me and we fell out. He said, try and absentia, it can never be done. He said, try and absentia can never be done because Ofori-Atta didn't go to court once and fled. He says,
what he said now is that the try and absentia can only take place after he has been served.
That's all. Yes, and I'm telling that he's now changed. So I'm telling that the whole thing they did, I think Sami Darko, that's my accusation, he and Kisie Jabin, they deliberately were making the case that try and absentia.
Next time, bring
so that they'll buy him time.
To come and give us the opinion. Because
they bought him time.
It's too personal with we are talking of Ken Ofori-Atta situation.
Yes, I'm telling you. Wait, let me wait. You had your time.
No, he didn't.
He spoke first.
It was just about the.
No, you spoke first.
It was just about the permanent resident.
Wait.
No, so I'm telling you that in January.
He's now speaking.
In January, all we are saying is that in January 2025, when Senior Tadiosori said, do try and absentia. Check, just go, you will see. OSP, they were denying that, you can't do try and absentia. When the man was leaving, there was no case. So unless you bring him into Ghana, you can't. I'm telling you that's what Sami Darko was saying all over, that you can't do try and absentia. Challenging lawyers. That which authority?
Okay, now you can try him.
Yes, and the history is important.
Keep me, don't interrupt. Let him finish.
We are just having the chat. And you also made the you complain of interruption by doing the same thing.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. No, your microphone is off.
You spoke to him, then him. These are the two I've not spoken. No. You have not complained of. You have also
that's not true.
But he has spoken already on the matter. He knows.
Hold on.
That's about a minute.
Well, but whether a minute or not, I'm just reminding that you have spoken.
Hold on. When I started the conversation, I went to him to confirm a position that he had already put out a year ago regarding Ken Ofori-Atta.
But did he speak?
Hold on. Seeking permanent status. That was just that part of the conversation. It was just a minute. You have spoken substantively about the matter. Let him speak, please.
Yeah. So you see that these guys at OSP, Kisie and Sami Darko, they bought Ofori-Atta time. January, no, they can't be trial and absentia. We rather bring him to start. You can't do trial and absentia because on the day Ofori-Atta was leaving, there was no criminal case. He had not appeared physically. Then they were referring to Bonsu alias Benjilo. That's our foremost case on extradition. Trial and absentia. Because in Benjilo, that Bonsu case, there was a Nigerian, not Bonsu himself. There's a Nigerian in that case who came to court, and then the case was adjourned. He was on bail, then he fled. So they took it as if you must physically go into the courtroom, the case be called, and then you subsequently flee before trial and absentia can be done. Meanwhile, that's not the law. Even the Constitution itself does not say so. So what I'm saying is that thing was deliberate to buy Ofori-Atta time so that this application for permanent residence, that is my assessment. Because any lawyer would know. It's our Constitution. It's our Constitution. Go to court. If the court say he must first come, then you know that is the court. But Sami Darko, how old are you at the bar? They kept saying that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. In the Constitution, Article 19, Clause 3, right? It's clear. It doesn't put any impediments that the the person must physically come to the court before absconding. Then you can now say try and absentia. That says that if we notify you and you don't come, we will go ahead. And I'm telling that it took almost a year for OSP to yield. And I'm telling that thing was deliberate so that they'll buy Ofori-Atta time so that this is application for residence permit will gain traction so that we'll move quickly so that we'll reach a very critical stage, almost be done. And that's what they've achieved.
But does
so now let's go.
Does he being granted permanent status make our case any difficult in trying to...
Oh, absolutely. It makes the case a lot more difficult. You see, Rana, but quickly, before we go into that, it is that, but it is not impossible. Yes, it doesn't mean that because he's a permanent resident, he can never come. So on paper, you say that, it is still possible. But practically, he's gained a lot more protection. And let's not forget, in this analysis, so as a permanent resident, he can roam the U.S. now freely. He can work. The U.S. Constitution protects him, etc. So I think the U.S. would likely give him up. Even leave aside for now John Ashcroft that he has as one of his lead lawyers. Ashcroft, who is a lobbyist. And I keep saying, see, people don't understand. let's make this point. Ashcroft is not just a lawyer and former Attorney General of the U.S. He's also a lobbyist. Lobby. Like what Ghana, we've not structured it so well. And the U.S. there are laws, etc. Because a lot of lobbying involves influence peddling and corruption. A lot of lobbying, right, involves influence peddling and corruption. So it's that area, some gray area. They work in that areas. And so I'm telling you that the influence that John Ashcroft has to get to Ofori-Atta here, Master, the best would be that Akufo-Addo and the MPP ask Ofori-Atta to calm down. Please. That is the one Ashcroft cannot deal with, because then that one they are telling Ofori-Atta that you are ruining our chances for 2028. Of course they will lose, but at least if they brought him, maybe their chances will be better. And ultimately 2032 they will be off. So perhaps when they begin to tell Ofori-Atta, look at the end game. If you don't come here, you keep us forever in opposition. Okay, so it's better that you came down so that you face the charges. So that even if he's convicted, who knows? By 2032, if you come, you can give him a pardon. You see? By 20, you see that at least you have done 5 years. You know Ghanaians generally.
He's not guilty. Don't talk like that.
Don't talk like that. We are giving the scenario.
Don't give him yes. He's not guilty.
Right?
He's innocent.
So as we speak, the alternative now, taking into consideration the realities that we are faced with, what is the most potent option that can be resorted to by law enforcement agencies to get him to be officially and personally notified for either trial in absentia to take place or for him to be brought to Ghana personally to answer to the questions?
Oh, so for law enforcement, as I said, my understanding from the news portals, etc., is that the documents, the charge sheet and the orders are with the Justice Department. Well, as whether they've also handed over, we don't know. So perhaps they should be, the Attorney General met, the Attorney General in the Yoko bosses, they met the FBI, etc.
The Department of Justice, I think earlier in the week.
Earlier in the week. Yes. So maybe if it's possible, some of these things, they don't like putting all out in the media, but at least some general information will be useful. That where are we? As for serving Ofori-Atta, that one, I don't think it's a sensitive matter. No, right. So at least maybe AG, Dr. Dominic Ayine and Stremside, they should look at it and tell us how close are we? So that, and also when he receives it, how many days did the judge give? Is it 30 days or 2 months after? If he doesn't come, then we continue. That would be very useful. I don't think that is sensitive because these are court documents. They are these are public information. Where has the Justice Department reached? That's the U.S. authorities in terms of getting Ofori-Atta served. That is very key. Let's get that information out into the media so that we see that at least work is being done. So that there will be little space for people who want to, spin, political actors who want to spin all this and say Ora is dead because they are not seeing how far Ofori-Atta's trial is going. But at least the fact that the papers are of the U.S. authority is significant progress, right? Right. Yeah. So that is it. So please. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to Madam Clayton, but let me acknowledge the presence of Manasseh Azure Awene. He is a celebrated investigative journalist, done quite some work in regarding the subject that we're talking about this morning. Manasseh, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Manasseh, can you hear me?
Thank you, Alfred, for having me.
Perfect. Thank you. And Amanda,
yes, I can hear you, Alfred.
Great. Thank you. If you can put the device you're listening to me on off so you hear me directly through the Zoom, that would be good. Amanda, you had indicated that the green card or the permanent status does not guarantee immunity. But then again, Bible talks about how the dynamics of that alone even makes our case a little more difficult, in trying to get him to come and answer questions.
Yes, because I think it really strengthens, having the U.S. green card really strengthens his humanitarian, public, political persecution and discretionary arguments. He can go further with that because he's a U.S. citizen. But I think I also want to focus on the quote you have up where his lawyers say that the court says the charges in Ghana are not credible.
Yes.
And as we all know, based on our sovereignty and, because of accountability, it might be an incorrect statement just because the charges are comparable, because, they're always looking at is this fraud charge similar to a type of fraud charge there? It's comparable. But I think the ultimate thing that should be under discussion is perception, in terms of this perception of anti-corruption and human rights fighting. Because it takes a lot for a US court to say that the charges in Ghana are not credible, particularly if when they look at their types of charges, it's very similar. So what we have to understand might have gone on there is that decision came from intelligence in terms of the information they were given as to what is the state of this matter in Ghana. And having worked at the Attorney General's Department in Ghana, in the international team, we would always do things like look up what other people are saying. Like, for instance, the CIA publishes an annual report on Ghana, and it has a very thorough anti-corruption or corruption section. We have an FBI office in Ghana who constantly liaises with Yoko, national security, etc. So when we're talking about intelligence and then the US Embassy, this is some persecution, etc. And my personal view is that, and my professional view, is that Ghana has actually gone too far in satisfying Mr. Ofori-Atta's arguments on the perception of corruption and of persecution. And they've done so because although they've got this really healthy oral campaign and, it is very sort of marketing and it's all over the place and their opinions are everywhere, what oral does not address, and that is why there is this international and local perception, what oral does not address is that they are never looking in their own house. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. We've got a less than 1% rating, in terms of less of 1% of your own stewards, etc. And this is not I know Honorable spoke about this, and he says, you never hear of scandals in this government. You don't hear of scandals in this government because the lengths that people go to almost protect individuals is unprecedented. I mean, I gave the example of Sierra Leone. In less than 6 days, they shut that down. The president's name was all over the place on TikTok, etc. How his sister's husband had defrauded so many internationals from gold, and they had used his name, etc. In 6 days, they shut that thing down because they issued a wanted poster for him. They interviewed his own sister in a CID headquarters in Freetown, and they are supposed to be, on the scale of the corruption stage, more corrupt than us. And when it comes to Ghana, money talks. The corruption poll that we just looked at, or the corruption perception poll, says that for ministers, the perception is 4.54%. For the presidency, 4.84%. For the judiciary, incredibly high, 5.41%, etc. And I don't say this in a vacuum, but I do think that if I was abroad and representing Ofori-Atta in terms of this political persecution thing, Ghana has literally handed them over 400 articles you can independently search online about everything from his whites, his religion, his the whites he wears, the religion, the horns that come out of his head apparently, etc. And that is the definition of what political persecution is. And he's no longer fighting, I think, that he's seeking asylum because obviously he's gotten this green card. But in the UK and US, for instance, the only criteria you can pass for asylum, the only criteria, is that asylum bid must show that through articles and online you were persecuted. But if you say that, oh, I was just persecuted, etc., etc., they can't objectively verify that. So I think as Oral is doing incredibly well with their marketing, I would call it, and their tainting of people's name at will, who have built reputations for over 20, 30 years. The thing this government also has to appreciate is it will come back to them, be it in 2 years' time or 6 years' time. The energy you've used to soil people's names is the same energy that will be used, and it will be just considered, oh, well, nothing came of the case or something came of the case. But I think that to say that we never hear of scandal in this 1.5 years government is, in my professional opinion, a falsehood, because I truly believe the extent to which this government goes to protect their own, be it with the judiciary, with agencies and with institutions and different things, means that we cannot say that we never hear of scandals.
So
and if oral is going to be effective, oral must look inside their own house in terms of a less than 1% rate of corruption in your own party. I mean, you must be saints. Or you really must be saints. I mean, less than a 0.25%.
No, because Amanda, you don't understand.
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can,
yes.
What I wanted to find out, you made a statement about the fight against corruption. Two things.
Yeah.
The perceived political persecution of Ken Ofori-Atta.
Yes. And human rights.
You talk about some over 400 articles that you have searched, right?
Yeah.
That you can find.
Yeah.
Have they given enough gravitas to that position to be held on and extended as a potent reference for Ken Ofori-Atta not to come to Ghana?
In terms
based
of
on what you have seen?
Yes, in terms of the arguments that they could make, definitely. Because you're talking about being convicted before you have even been tried in terms of the language that is being used. And where is that language coming from? That language is coming from very senior members of the government who are supposed to be pursuing him, but the decision has already been made. And granted, the Attorney General has perhaps rightfully said the reason he wants Ken Ofori-Atta to come back or to come down is that there is an extensive investigation that is going on, and I presume it means Ejapa and all these other deals, and you don't want to compromise the investigation to a certain extent, because it might mean other people who are in Ghana, and it might mean, this multi-billion-dollar investigation. So they're basically saying the charges they put forth are the ones that they can publicly discuss now. But should they grab him and he comes here, then they can talk about Ejapa and all these sort of different deals. But in terms of international law, the government, ironically, this NDC government has actually made the case for Ken Ofori-Atta's government, or Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers, for him to never step foot here whilst they are in power, because of the sheer language and the persecution in terms of, he hasn't been tried. Yes, this is the potential charge. But the labeling, and the labeling coming out of whose mouth? And so the decision has already been made. And then when you compare that to the corruption perception score, which seems to be increasing in certain quarters we haven't seen. For instance, the judiciary, 5.41%. A presidency is probably around the same, 4.84%. You match that with, for instance, a CIA country report of Ghana, 2025, 2026, if it's out. This is intelligence. And then you match it with what is the local FBI office saying about their interactions with our agencies in terms of they all share information. But how much of that information leads to arrests? And why have we got an MP that had to be arrested outside because maybe he couldn't have been arrested here, and another person who was in Morocco, not part of government? But it seems that for people who have money in this country, the perception internationally is they must get on a flight, because they will, throw money at the judges, maybe they'll throw money at their lawyers. They will sue judges, sue lawyers, do everything. And so you cannot get, you cannot get a result here, sort of thing. And that person would either have to go internationally. So back to the oral point, I really think oral is a wonderful mandate. It's a wonderful policy initiative. It is good that they do these sort of media outreach, monthly briefings, and our Deputy Attorney General very helpfully shares all the cases that are going on every week, with his color-coordinated charts, which I pay attention to and everybody pays attention to. Wonderful. But if you've got a less than 1% rate of attempted charges or suspicions in your own party, those figures don't match anywhere globally. And so the public perception and the international perception is that NDC will protect their own, perhaps at all cost, and the devil is NPP, who must be vilified, including their religion, their clothes, everything. And that is not how anti-corruption works. Anti-corruption works where everybody is up for grabs and where politically exposed people are held more accountable than using the system that was created to rather go against journalists, lawyers, everybody else. But it's like narcissism. It's never me. It's just them.
Okay.
Well, quick one. Amanda, but that's how the world works, just generally. Because even if you take the US, look at Trump with all his issues. When he became president, they stopped his sentence. They stopped the sentence.
He still has those charges.
But they stopped his sentence. Who was convicted.
He's convicted.
Even in his own, this administration, the US, you see open corruption, people are complaining, they are not able to do much. You see, Bondi was eventually kicked out.
Thank you very much.
So he's all over the world.
But less than 1%. Less than 1%.
Thank you.
Let me quickly start with the oral and what the corruption perception that she was talking about, that 1% within the government. You see,
less.
You are not part of the government, and you do not know the kind of edict, the kind of things that have been issued by the president and his chief of staff to the CEOs, to political appointees, to people that should you get yourself involved in any scandal, nobody in government is going to stand with you. You will face it and squarely. These are things that they are reminded every day, the CEOs, when they go for meeting at the presidency. So everybody has been put on alert that should there be any allegation against you of corruption, you will be the first. Nobody is coming to stand with you. And the party itself has also warned these appointees. So if you say because the perception is low, how will you compare that to also say that when the economy was so bad, even the international committee has said that the quick rise and the stability in the economy, it's something that they have never seen for several years.
Perfect.
So if you are saying that the perception corruption index has come down, it is not normal, then how do you also say that once the economy rose to stability, it has not been normal?
Okay.
Now, you see, when you are saying that in Ghana, we are protecting our own, can you give me a specific case that an appointee has done something and has been... It's a general statement you are put. Now, you see, we have journalists, we have the opposition, right? And the opposition is always attentive to see, to be able to bring issues, allegations out, right? And there are private papers, the media is always handing to see that what is the news, to break the news. For this time, because of the warning, the stern warning that has been given to appointees, even to extent that appointees were told that, listen, celebrating birthdays to throw a bash is a thing of the past. Hey, no. Okay. You see, you can do it.
Okay, can I answer that question?
You didn't see the recent
who?
The recent CNN was said you didn't see a birthday party, but we didn't see it.
Who? Which party?
Said, the lady said her birthday party.
National service. Yeah, I heard
Why?
some like
Yes, the opulence.
But you should
Opulence.
hold on.
No, it's not saying that you cannot commemorate and say your birthday, right? But the opulence that we see being thrown, a bash. That is what I'm saying.
So
now let's move on quickly to
who determines the level of opulence? Is there any measure of what the opulence is and what can be allowed in this particular instance as you are referencing?
Yes.
Who determines what is opulent and not regarding this directive of birthdays?
The birthdays.
Yes.
Now,
is there any measure?
Why not? Why wouldn't there be a measure if it is solemn? If something is done there, what we see, the organization would, the party, the events will tell you that this is an opulent thing. Something that has been done, also in contrary, which is solemn, you would see for yourself. You will know.
We saw the opulence.
No.
We saw the opulence. What are you talking about?
And the people is the public opinion, right? We have public opinion. So we cannot guard citizens and say that because they've spoken, about Ofori-Atta, what the society is saying, that there should be accountability, that would be a bar that we would measure and say it is persecution. No. Society wants accountability. Now let me come. How did Ofori-Atta came into the public limelight?
But can I answer your question? You said have I seen it for myself?
How did he come to the public limelight? But Ofori-Atta, before he came into public office, was the chair of Data Bank, right? Was the chair of Data Bank. He was doing his business. Who had issues with him? Society never had issues with him.
We always had. There were Buta investment.
Yes.
He had issues with Snake long ago.
Long ago. Wow. Even before, yes.
Yeah. We had issues with him. It's just that Ghana
Yeah, now, so when he came to the public scene, which party, which people, which vehicle did he use? He used the NPP as a member of the NPP party and wrote on that political party when they came into office, and the president said, we are bringing an investment banker, an accomplished one, reputed, for us to bring the economy and bring all the investments and all the connections that and the relationship he has built to bring it a bear on the finances and the economy of the nation. And that MPP celebrated that they have one of the best. That is how he came on the scene.
Okay.
Even his family celebrated him because he was appointed as a minister of state. Right? Everybody came and we heard from the beginning Asempa budget. When they brought all this Asempa budget, you were using resources of the state. And now people are calling on you to come for accountability. Accountability is part of our constitution. So it's not about a private matter and say it is about his decision to come or not. It is not about his private issue. When he was a private man, nobody really came and said, Ofori-Atta, you owe me, you do this. If there was any issue, they would have gone to court to settle the matter. But we are talking about accountability. And you see, it is not like within the law, there is no morality. He was, and he has been a role model. People saw him and his conduct. Now, the reason why society is calling for him is that we don't want to set a bad precedent that you can come to public office. There is the allegation and perception that things haven't gone well, or you have taken some decision, and you will use the legal means and say that, yes, it is about his own legal issues and he has to. Look, nobody would have taken him on if he hasn't done. There's an evidence in the budget where he allocated resources to the National Cathedral. the National Cathedral, we were told, was a private initiative. And you have allocated money. Come and answer under what circumstances? Well, what happened for you to allocate government resources to the National Cathedral? And you want to tell us that it's a private matter? We can do that.
I see.
Now, let me come in. You see, the other bad trick is also that when the issue of Sedinam and even her coming back, they said the NDC won't bring her. The NDC as a party will shield her. She's not going to be brought back. She's in. And the same MPP and minority now comes in and says she's under house arrest. We've not seen her in prison. We should show evidence. Where is the precedent? That somebody has been convicted or handed over to the security and the prisons. The minority will say that we know she's under house arrest. In which house? Have they given us any location to the house in which she is arrested? And you see, they should go to the prison, go to the security. The same party people who are calling and are saying that it is private matter for Ofori-Atta to determine are the same party coming double standard and are coming and say that where is Sedinam? And there should be pomp and pageantry that when Sedinam came at the airport, it should be shown to the whole world. She's come in, she's in her prison clothes, she's here. The same party. This is the double standard. And society is watching and saying that, look, what Ofori-Atta will do, he's coming or not, will have a bearing on this party.
Okay.
And we are saying that, look, the last one, you see, this communication is a press release from the lawyers. Alfred, have you seen the ruling of this court on this immigration matter? No. This is a slant to it. That slant to it from the lawyers. That is why he's saying that.
That's how you want to see it.
No, yes. Have you seen the ruling?
But you haven't seen it as well. So
yes,
why do you say
so
it's a slant?
that's why I'm telling you that he said, however, the court may, within the context of immigration proceedings, where they are saying that the legal proceedings that we have, the charges that maybe have been brought, is not credible. I don't think any court would ever say that what is happening in the sovereign country, their charges, is not credible as compared to their law.
Okay.
No sovereign.
Let me bring in Manasseh Azuri-Awuni on this particular development as well, taking into consideration what you referenced regarding the position of the lawyers' communication. And I was quite clear when I was reading this that this is the communication of the lawyers to us all about what has happened, which has not been disputed anyway. So the granting of his permanent status is not in issue. Manasseh, you followed this matter quite closely. Now we're getting to know what you, after Martin Kpebu put this out last year, you also came to corroborate it, that indeed you had received information based on from your own sources regarding Ken Ofori-Atta seeking permanent status. Well, that has happened now. And according to the lawyers here, it may make our case a little more difficult trying to get him in. You followed this case quite. What are you expecting in the coming days regarding this? Especially now that the Attorney General, we understand, has had meetings, series of meetings with the Department of Justice, and then also the quest to proceed with a trial in absentia after serving him.
Thank you very much. I think some of these developments come to confirm our concerns when we started questioning why the OSP slept on the job from 2023, when we first petitioned the office to investigate Ofori-Atta, started the investigation only in 2025, and some untruths were put out there, and we had evidence to say that, look, this was what really happened. Some of us knew that even if the permanent status wasn't even granted, the extradition could travel for a long time. And I am not a lawyer, so I defer to lawyers who have given reasoned opinions on this and have said that it doesn't stop us from, or it doesn't stop the process, but it makes it difficult. Someone even said that, look, with this, Ofori-Atta can decide to travel to a country where Ghana has no extradition arrangement, and that will be the end of everything. This tells us that when the security agencies or state anti-corruption agencies are dealing with matters, they shouldn't just work as if they have all the time in the world. And I'm also getting this conversation about political persecution and all of that. And I think that when we are talking about that, let's be fair to the facts of this matter. The SML scandal did not begin in this administration. The SML scandal is not being prosecuted by the Office of the Attorney General, which is a political appointment. The SML scandal, if anybody is minded to read the KPMG report and then the report or the white paper.
Hello?
So-called on that report released 2 documents I'm talking about, then we should stop talking about political persecution. President Akufo-Addo is a relative, a blood relative of Ken Ofori-Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta served in his administration, and the president's release mentioned a number of
Hello,
were wrong with that contract, including the. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, there's a glitch in the connection. I don't know if it's coming from your end or ours.
Yes.
Hello?
Am I clear?
No, yes, it's better now. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was making a point that if one is minded to look at the KPMG report and President Akufo-Addo's release on that report, there is enough evidence that even at that time, a lot of wrong had been done, including ignoring PPA disapprovals and rejection of certain requests and going ahead to award contracts, including we paying over 500 million cedis to SML in respect of the transaction audit and external price verification, in which President Akufo-Addo's own release said that those services were redundant because the GRA had inbuilt systems to perform those functions. So if all of these things were said by the government within which Ken Ofori-Atta served, and then an independent office set up to fight corruption, not by President Mahama, but by President Akufo-Addo, is holding that man to account. I see no reason why we should try to be pushing when there is an ongoing case in the past, now, in the future. It happens in the US or everywhere. You cannot control the rhetoric. You cannot control what politicians say about it.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't a judge that has come out to say that Ken Ofori-Atta is guilty, and it isn't the special prosecutor that has come out to say, look, when he comes, you are throwing him in jail. There are processes, and I don't think there is any basis for us to be pushing this angle of political persecution.
Well, Amanda referenced the articles and statements that have been made as a basis. Gentlemen, hello, yes. As a basis for that point that she made regarding the political persecution.
These articles and statements concerning politicians are made everywhere in the world. We should look at the facts. Some of the people who have walked free from court after these years went through all of that. Politicians who say anything. It is even worse in the US. They have a more vibrant media, and their contempt laws are not as stringent as ours. When a politician is involved, you can't take away the political rhetoric. But are we going to elevate that above the facts that this matter first happened within the government when it was first reported? The president, who is a cousin of the man we are talking about, commissioned KPMG, and that report is damning. And even the president's release on that report actually mentioned a number of damning things. The office that is prosecuting him is an office set up by his cousin and then the government within which he served. So you can control the commentary, but the question is, who takes the final decision? Is it the courts? Is it any politician who wants to make a case out of it? What didn't the MPP say about Woyome and all of that? What happened in the end? So the point I'm making is, there are facts, there are issues that we should deal with, and saying because a politician has said this, or a journalist has said this, or this has said this, this is political persecution. Let's look at the case and the administration within which a lot of the things happened. And I don't think this is one of the cases that we can, by stretch of any imagination, say that this is a political persecution.
Would that be from where you sit? Because you also have made certain comments. The research that Amanda references also captures statements attributed to you, for instance. Would that be a potent covering whatsoever for Ken Ofori-Atta and his lawyers to resort to?
If Manasseh says that, and I don't run away from the statements I have made, I say he has questions to answer. I say some of the contracts he signed, and then what I have seen, it takes a lot of wickedness to do that. When somebody of his stature was nearly killed by COVID-19 and its complications, you went to the US and got your treatment. You come back, our hospitals don't have those treatments for the rest of us. And you use the money that is supposed to go into building this infrastructure, you waste them, and when you get out of power, you go elsewhere. As a citizen of this country, I have the legitimate reason to say that such a person must come back to face the law. From where I sit, the things he did were wrong. And saying that they are wrong is not the same as saying that, well, you've been convicted and you should go to jail. So if you go to gather all these articles about adverse statements people have made, and I'm saying, how many songs did they not compose about Woyome? What really happened? Didn't Woyome walk free? So when issues of this nature happens, you can't just pick any commentary that is against Ken Ofori-Atta and says political witch hunting. Let's look at the actions regarding the institutions of state that are acting on this case. Let us look at the judicial system. Let us look at the Chief Justice come out to make certain comments that shows that, well, if the Chief Justice is making these comments and then a person is going to courts that he presides over, then we cannot trust that he will get justice. You cannot just take every negative comment against Ken Ofori-Atta and come out to say, well, all of those amounts to political persecution. I don't think it is reasonable to argue that way.
Well, and no, very quickly, because I need to, he has to round up on that, because you made that particular 1 minute, just a quick minute.
I think the question asked was, could his lawyers say that this is political persecution? So it was from the standpoint of, is it feasible for his lawyers to make the case based on the information available? And my response was yes. Based on the information available, you could certainly skewer that level of attack to say, if this isn't political persecution, I don't know what is. So whether it would carry or not, I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't have things to answer to. Perhaps he does, particularly when we're talking about transactions. Anytime you have, transactions that go through, et cetera, that's the money trail. And those are things that one has to answer in terms of a potential charge. So that's one thing in terms of answering those questions. But it's another thing about the question asked was, could he build a case on political persecution? And my professional view is, based on the information out there, he certainly could. The second thing I wanted to bring up was, Madam Tamaklo's extradition.
No, I gave you
very
the point
quickly
to respond to what.
Okay, just to respond to that.
Yes.
Okay.
So Manasseh, that was the perspective or the context in which that reference was made as to how that can be a position that the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta can reference regarding whether or not he would come into the country physically or personally to stand trial.
I also think the points I have mentioned, based on when this scandal first came out, what his own brother, cousin, and the government within which he served.
Brother is correct too.
Started it. Then the outcome of that, if anybody reads the KPMG report very well, it is scandalous enough. Ken Ofori-Atta could have been charged based on some of the findings of those reports. And if he was shielded because perhaps the government was in power, and now we know that governments change and accountability is demanded, we cannot push that angle. So with the facts available pertaining to this specific case, if the lawyers bring up that and then our side is minded to look the right way, they will dismantle them. I just want to end finally by saying that, look, his lawyers are making it a case of victory. That is gotten this and people linked to him are all celebrating. I think there is no victory, there is no celebration over someone who is running away from accountability. It is not a badge of honor. It is a symbol of shame to have served, been given the trust of the people to serve. When people even thought you were sick, you were still there. When MPs within your government, your party said you should go, you were still there. And then you did things that don't make sense. Now, come and account, you are running away. I don't think it is something that people should see as victory and begin to taunt those who want Ken Ofori-Atta back.
Okay.
I think it is a dent on the Ken Ofori-Atta brand, and if I were his son or daughter, I would be ashamed.
Well, Manasseh, stay with me. There's a specific point of response that the Director of Strategy, Research and Communication at the Office of Special Prosecutor, Samida Akon, who's joined us as well on Zoom, would make. And I want to do this very quickly, so just kindly stay with me. Samida Akon, can you hear me? Good morning.
Good morning, I can hear you.
I think that there is some consensus across the table that if there has to be that option of trial in absentia to be resorted by the Office of Special Prosecutor or the Attorney General, Ken Ofori-Atta would have to be served personally. Now, there was a position that was referenced by lawyer Martin Gbebo regarding what you had said on this matter of trial in absentia a little over a year ago, and what is actually being said now. Was there any difference in the position you held 2025 to what the OSP is pursuing now?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to respond. So it's rather an accusation against my person. That's why I want to respond. As Martin Gbebo always peddling falsehood against the SP, especially in respect of where he says that the SP is alleged to have said that he went to security agencies. That was a wild goose chase by he himself, because the tape is already there for everybody to replay. The SP never said that he went to security agencies. He says that there was no cooperation from the security agencies. And I remember the host asked him, in this present administration, how will you rate the cooperation? And in the previous administration, I think he said somewhere around that the previous administration, he will rate cooperation with the other security agencies around, I think 3%, 3 over 10. And in this present administration, I think he put it somewhere around 6 or 7. I don't quite remember. So when he goes on a wild goose chase to go and ask people, of course, they're going to say that nothing, the OSP never wrote to them about it. But let me respond to what I said. The position I hold and the position I held in 2025 is the same. But you remember that I had called you because it was somewhere in June 2025 and like October 2025 that we were going back and forth with trial and absentia. And I remember it was Martin Pebu, Honorable Dafia Mepo, and another lawyer. And I was on the telephone that time going to Joy FM on Newsfile. And you had called me to explain. I had explained that trial in absentia in Ghana will only happen when the person becomes an accused person. And I have not changed the position. Currently, the reason why trial in absentia is about to happen is because he's now an accused person. In 2025, in June and October, Ken Ofori-Atta was not an accused person. He was a suspect. And he had suggested that we could go the route in Act 30 around Section 60, where we can go by a motion or summon to a district court judge. And I said that, why are people trying to stampede us with our work? When we are done with our work and charges are filed, because it's not just Ken Ofori-Atta, it is also another man called Ernest Akori, that many of us don't talk about him, but he was the chief of staff of Ken Ofori-Atta. His situation is a bit different because he's a dual national. He's a US citizen and at the same time a Ghanaian citizen.
I see.
So I had made a point that when they become an accused person, trial and absentia can continue. And the same position is what I'm holding. I have not shifted from it. So the accusation by Martin Pebu, and I've challenged TV3, or I'm challenging TV3 now, because I think I've produced to you what I said on a Newsfile about trial and absentia. And even I said some also on other networks, that you have to become an accused person and choose not to return. And to state the position, the OSP people also get it wrong. They think that there's nothing going on. No, there's something going on. Ken Ofori-Atta, as we speak, is an accused person in Ghana. But many people will say, if you have something against him, why don't you go to court? Why don't you go to court? Well, in respect of OSP, I cannot speak for the Attorney General because Attorney General and ORA also came up with a number of things they said they are investigating and they will probably charge him with. That I don't know whether Attorney General has charged Ken Ofori-Atta as we speak on any other offense.
Well, but I think that for the OSP, I think it's public knowledge that you have charged him. You have charged him. His lawyers are of the position that he has not been personally, or they have not been personally notified, or Ofori-Atta himself has not been personally notified. That's the position that they have consistently referenced. Is that the case?
Yes, Alfred, I agree with you. I'll come to that, but I was just trying to make the distinction that some people will say, if you have a case against him, go to court. And I'm telling the people who say if you have a case against him, go to court, that there's already a court. He's an accused person in the case of SML. He's facing 28 counts, and I think Akori is facing 16 or something counts.
I referenced that earlier.
And I'm saying that in that case, there are about 8 persons, and the 2 of them are the ones who are outside. So yes, he's been charged. He's not an accused person. We have formally applied to the court for permission to serve him outside the jurisdiction. The court granted it. Now we have to use MLA to do that service, and you have to send it to the Attorney General of Ghana, who is central authority. Attorney General of Ghana confirmed to us it has gone to the United States. The United States have confirmed that they have receipt of the summons and the charge sheet. What is left is for them to serve him. And it's not just him. There are 2 persons that we sought permission from the court to serve them so that we could go ahead with trial and absentia. And there's Akori, who was his chief of staff. As I speak to you, I do not have any confirmation from my office that the US people have returned service. Now, typically what will happen is that when the US people return service, then Attorney General will also serve the court. Then the judge will now give some timelines within which he must be present to answer to the charges. Now, if he elects not to come, then the judge may go ahead and order trial in absentia, because the case as we speak now has been adjourned to 30th of July 2026 because of the challenge to OSP's independent prosecutorial power. The case we have to always go for adjournment. So the case has not proceeded since April because our independent prosecutorial power is being challenged. But then we're able to go to court for adjournment because then the defense attorneys were seeking to say that the accused person should be made to go and stay at home. Then when Ken Ofori-Atta and Mr. Corey are brought back, then the case could continue. Or when they elect not to come back, then trial and absentia could continue. Now, the question as to whether why we are not serving the lawyers, and it also came up in 2025. And we kept telling Ghanaians, and we have not shifted position, that in a criminal trial, we are not dealing with the lawyers. The law is very clear. When they are misdemeanors, the law allows you to deal with the lawyers. But when it's a felonious crime, then it's the person. He then will decide whether he will defend himself in court, or then he will let a lawyer help him to defend himself. So lawyers don't come in at all. This service is in personam. We will not, and the court will not, and the court has not agreed that service should be directed to his lawyers. If in the wisdom of the court, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, there's a projection that we are unable to serve him, and in the wisdom of the court then decides to change the rules and say serve the lawyers, then we can do so. So this issue about his lawyers are here, they are there, it's a non-starter at all. And that is why when this issue started and the lawyers were always coming in with excuses, and that they are there, they should be allowed to come and represent. We are telling them, unless you have abetted the crime, then we could deal with you. But we cannot deal with a lawyer when we are dealing with a criminal case, because what can you answer for the person? What can you answer for the person? And that is the situation that Ghanaians must understand. It's not that somebody does not want to prosecute or somebody is delaying a case or not. I understand the concerns that, yes, this matter predates the NDC administration. And I understand the concern about what they would term as the slow nature of us not working on it, or concerns that we are even complicit. For me, I like to move forward, which is that the OSP has done a diligent job of coming up with charges and evidence against 8 persons, including Mr. Ofori-Atta and Mr. Corey and others.
I see. There's some information that Sami, thank you very much for, and I needed to do this because of that particular reference to a statement. But thank you, the director of. But there was but he is on.
Yes,
there's a specific reference to something that's on the website.
Yes,
I want us to do this in a minute. I have to go for a quick
information
break.
put out on Facebook and possibly on your website. You said trial and absentia in Ghana. A person may be tried in absentia only under limited circumstances. 1, where the accused absconds after the trial has commenced. This is your public statement, Sami Dako. Don't run away. We are not kids. Check you. Our WhatsApp, and you just didn't send it to me. It's something you put on Facebook and possibly on the OSP website. If you like,
maybe the report is wrong. He said he didn't say it.
No, so, I'm saying this is his own thing. I'll forward it to you.
Is that his voice? Right. Is that a video?
His own writing.
Who wrote it? I'll go for a quick break. When I go for a quick break, when we're back, we'll deal with our last issue. Stay with us. This is Key Point. As always, we'll be back shortly after this quick break.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
There are still quite a bit of immeasurable roads.
A lot.
Because of the rain. What did DRIP do to prepare for the rainy season?
You don't have to have DRIP in order to resolve that. The flooding being caused in the system is not just about desilting. It's also about people building in unauthorized places.
How many kilometers of road were paved, repaired, or constructed over the time that you were National DRIP Coordinator?
As of March, through DRIP, we've done almost 11,400 kilometers of reshaping.
General Mosquito, as a leader of your party, you endorse his leadership style. What will you be doing differently from him?
A lot. I'm looking at building a very resilient NDC that will be the obvious choice from any youth of Ghana.
Why do you think now is the best time for you to be chairman?
Who better is qualified more than me to lead the NDC at this time? Whether then people like it or not, the Nantivanapo's chairmanship will end their dominance in Ashanti region.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
This
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasumeni, coming soon on TV3.
TV on Hot Issues.
There are still quite a bit of immeasurable roads.
A lot.
Because of the rain. What did DRIP do to prepare for the rainy season?
You don't have to have DRIP in order to resolve that. The flooding being caused in the system is not just about desilting. It's also about people building in unauthorized places.
How many kilometers of road were paved, repaired, or constructed over the time that you were National DRIP Coordinator?
As of March, through DRIP, we've done almost 11,400 kilometers of reshaping.
General Mosquito, as a leader of your party, you endorse his leadership style. What will you be doing differently from him?
A lot. I'm looking at building a very resilient NDC that will be the obvious choice from any youth of Ghana.
Why do you think now is the best time for you to be chairman?
Who better is qualified more than me to lead the NDC at this time? Whether then people like it or not, the Nantivanapo's chairmanship will end their dominance in Ashanti region.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on the Voice of London radio and television in the heart of the city of London. Also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and a number of radio stations across the country, and on 3FM 92.7. Now, let me tell you about the National Petroleum Authority Conference. This July, Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference 2026 on the theme Building Resilient Downstream Policy, Innovation and Investment to Growth. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will be the distinguished guest of honor. The date is July 16 to 17, 2026. 8 a.m. each day. Venue is the Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The event will be climaxed with the Downstream Awards and Gala Night on the 18th of July. Register now on www.ghipcon, that's gipcon.com, or you can call 055 822 3678 055 822-3678. And as always, Key Point is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and also by GASEM, the nation builder. And my outfit this morning is by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you. You can call Kogra Clothing for this outfit and many others. You see me well on Key Point on this number, 026 055 8056. 026 055 8056 for this outfit and many others with Kogra Clothing. Now, this week, we got confirmation of an issue that we touched on briefly last week regarding the reported resignation of the former Chief Justice and also who was until, as we got to know, last year, September, a member of the Council of State, Sophia Akufo. Now, this confirmation was given by the Minister in charge of Government Communications. And so we understand there's already some measures or preparation in place to replace her on the Council of State. But it has to go according to a particular process as enshrined in the Constitution, because that position that Madam Sophia Akufo has resigned from is reserved for former Chief Justices. And this is it. Article 89(2)(a), the Council of State shall consist of the following persons appointed by the President in consultation with Parliament. One person who has previously held the office of Chief Justice. So that's specific to that group of people. So who are the other persons available to fill this position as Justice Sophia Akufo has resigned? Justice Georgina Theodore Wood, Justice Kwesi Anini-Yeboah, and Justice Gertrude Arba Sabatokono. And Lamas Bebu, you're saying that, and I wanted a bit more clarity on this because we had a brief conversation sometime within the week. You say Justice Gertrude Arba Tekono does not qualify for this position or to be an option to serve in this position?
At all.
Why is that? Quick one.
I thought she was removed for misconduct. Okay? So once it's misconduct, no, she doesn't qualify. Yeah. She didn't serve the term. She didn't serve the term. So when they are considering what the Constitution, you see, we have the letter of the law. I'm happy senior pocket lawyer Senyo Husi referred to the preamble to the Constitution, and also from a plethora of Supreme Court decisions. We have the values of the Constitution: probity, accountability, transparency, etc. The Supreme Court cites them in many cases. Even if you read table number 2, of course, because it involves bail, etc., you find them there. So when you look at the constitutional values, etc., asking for accountability, when a person is being found not to have discharged the accountability role well and is forcibly removed from a constitutional office like that, next time we are looking for people to serve, people who occupied that constitutional office to serve on committees, etc., the one who didn't execute the Constitution properly would not be chosen. So in that score, listen, Justice Tokonu is not in the running for the Council of State.
So it's left with...
Not any personal matter. Oh, we all know Tokonu. I mean, it's not a personal matter. It's just a question of principle.
Yeah. So now it's left with Justice Georgina Todor-Wood and Justice Kwesi Ani-Yeboah. Who, in your own observation and reading, would be a possible choice amongst the two? Quick.
Todor-Wood is likely. Wood is likely to make it because, you see, before we come to the other analysis, first and foremost, Wood is James' Sunday school teacher. They go to church together, and Wood is Sunday school teacher. So you see that takes yes.
So it's a relation.
Yes. So it helps because the Sunday school teacher, Madam, come and leave the Bible practically here. So having taught JM Sunday school, naturally, JM will be more predisposed to say, "Oh, let my Sunday school teacher come and contribute." Yes, it's from outward. Now, apart from that, you see that when it came to election 2013, the election 2013 petition, because of that relationship, Wood decided not to sit on the petition. She avoided trouble. Ani-Yeboah was on that panel and ruled all throughout against the NDC, right? Yeah. Fast forward election petition 2020. He was in the saddle again. And one of the gravest things that people didn't like is the fact that I'm talking about perception and how people think. I'm not doing the pure legal analysis. I'm just recounting why Wood will make it ahead of Ani-Yeboah.
Okay.
So when Jim Mensah was not, the Supreme Court by their rulings didn't allow Jim Mensah to testify. It's something that didn't go down well with a lot of Ghanaians, even beyond NDC. So when you put that together, everything, Ani-Yeboah is seen as too MPP inclined than Wood. Wood is a moderate. By Ani-Yeboah. So in political terms, you call Wood a dove, okay, and then call Ani-Yeboah a hawk. Hawk, no, they will take a dove ahead of a hawk any day.
I see. And Amanda Clinton, on this, very quickly, no reasons were given based on the communication we got from government that she did not give any reasons for a decision to resign, but the president has accepted it. Few minutes on this.
Yes, I mean, it could be anything from a personal grievance to frustration or disagreement with how the last Chief Justice was removed. But I mean, I just want to say that for Madame Akufo, it's a great loss for the Council of State to have lost her, because she's very insightful. She has a lot of institutional knowledge, wisdom, and impartiality, as we've seen over the years. So it's a great loss for the Council of State. And I think her only equal would probably be Madame Justice Wood in terms of a replacement, because these things, in terms of these sort of positions, they do invite ensuring that the person has insight so that there's harmony, because harmony without insight creates mediocrity, I think. And I think it's also very interesting to study, the current makeup of the Council of State in terms of, you've got 2-3 individuals who are under the age of 40, perhaps the first in our nation's history. And then you've got a lot of NDC era political veterans, so that very much differed from the last Council of State, where the political profiles were more mixed in terms of law, academia, religion, local government, and civil society. So, President Mahama does have a limited choice in terms of this is just for a former Chief Justice role. But the quality of a council member is measured by their brilliance, and he will have to get that harmony right in this. Because I think, Justice Wood is very insightful, but getting that harmony right is good for this group, because perhaps the harmony was not as right in the last, and that is why she exited. And the only insight we might have of this is that she abstained from voting for Tunuku. She spoke on her behalf, and she went to the former, I think when they were thinking of reviewing the Constitution, she spoke that particular provision would have to be strengthened, etc. But having someone with sound mind, great insight, is very important for this position.
Thank you. Adawudu.
Yes, I think that Constitution makes it clear that when you're a Council of State member, you can resign. And you do the resignation by writing to the president, address it to the president. my information, where I'm coming from, is that she gave no reason for her resignation. So it might not be right to say maybe the frustration as to what happened as to the last CJ might be the reason. She never gave any reason. And this letter was addressed to the president, I think, later in the year, last year.
September.
Yes, September.
Is that that's the same month Tokonu was removed, right? She was, Tokonu was removed early. First, second, first or September.
So this was when, and you know, the president in his own wisdom also wanted to find out whether there are some concerns maybe, so that because the Council of State should be a place that they might be people who carry some values, principles that will be able to advise him to enrich his governance. So I think that in this, the president accepted it, and that's why it has been announced. And the process of getting a new person, maybe as Chief Justice, will come in. I know, maybe, apart from maybe the reasons that are being adduced by my colleagues on the panel, I think that he will prefer and go in more. That is if the council, maybe the party, the other people agree with the presidency with him, he may go for Judge Nawood.
Right.
Not necessarily because he's been a church but I know he has some special soft spot for women. When it comes to leadership, the women should be part of his governance. I think he has some soft spot, and he may propose.
Then put Amanda Clinton on the Council of State.
She's not gotten there yet.
No, the other 11 appointees. Under Article 8.
No, the other 11 are there.
They can remove one.
The other 11 are there.
Thank you very much.
But she's the Chief Justice we are talking about.
Michael, quickly.
And I wish Madam Sophia all the best in her new role as the Nkosro Hima of the Okrapim traditional area.
Thank you.
Lastly,
the last one
you come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Lastly,
Nothing has to do with this.
Now, after everybody has spoken, I can speak now. Thank you very much. And anybody who gets the second bite to the cherry, I guess
you will.
Now, this matter is something we should look at, but I just quickly want to use the opportunity to say something. That I don't think we should personalize certain things. We should let the law work in this country. When we use words like somebody should be ashamed, his son and children should be ashamed, I think it's most unfortunate. It's not the best in the context.
Oh, it's allowed.
No, it's not.
I'm looking at the time.
We shouldn't even.
Oh, it's allowed. No, when you say unacceptable.
No, it's unacceptable.
No,
that's my view.
That's his view.
It's not allowed.
When
you got arrested or whatever, we didn't start saying that you should be ashamed of children. We don't do that. Even in war, we always say that leave the wife and children out. Please, let's be decent. Let's do the right thing. Let's use the law. And the law says that we can still get accountability from Ken Ofori-Atta whether he is here or out of the jurisdiction. Simple. Now let's move to the issue of Madam Sophia, a very honorable Ghanaian, a woman of great learning. I know she went to schools like Wesley Girls, Harvard, and so on and so forth. And she was actually somebody who was appointed by Rawlings in 1995. And she was then made Chief Justice under President Nana Akufo-Addo. And to make it clear, not a relation of his.
They are relations.
No, they are not a relation.
They are related.
Who is not a related. It's not related to Akufo-Addo.
No, this one they are related.
They are not related. I'm also making a point. So let me make my point.
They are related.
You can come from the same. No. So the fact that you are from the same. No.
She herself.
Chepi and Ekropon, they are related.
Please, let's make this clear. They are no relation. Now I want to continue.
We are not doing family and friends.
Yes, we are not doing family and friends here. She was not appointed because she was a relation. She was appointed because at that time I think she was one of the senior most judges, if not one of the three, who was very senior in the house. And as you rightly said about John Mahama having a soft spot for women in appointment, that is one of the traits.